Hello and welcome to the Wildrose Arcade Podcast. Who's this? I don't know. Not the regular host.
Who am I?
We're off to a great start.
Who are these strange people?
We're our usual cast and crew, but things are getting a little crazy and weird today.
That's right. It's the end of the year. It's the end of an era. And just like our friend, President-elect Joseph R. Biden, I'm taking over from a terrible, terrible despot. I'm the cast master now.
Obey me.
So yeah, it's our Game of the Year special. But before that, we'll, as usual, get on to what everyone's been playing.
I just want to quickly add that, like usual, our Game of the Year podcast will be going up on New Year's Eve. And depending on how long this is, I will try to air it on YouTube so that this finishes around midnight. So for those of you listening, Happy New Year. Let's hope 2021's a little bit better than 2020. But in real time, we are recording this on December 12th, just to get ahead of the game a little bit and give me more time to splice it all together. Other than that, this is our Game of the Year podcast. I guess since I'm already talking, I'll just say what I've been playing lately. I've picked up Cyberpunk 2077 and I've been playing it. It has its issues and the internet is very aware of the issues that it has, so I won't spend too much time talking about how glitchy the game is.
Did you hear about the new issue that was just raised today?
Depends.
This isn't the seizure one, is it?
No, this is a different one.
So I guess Holly doesn't know.
No,
but apparently, apparently there's a scene in the game that used different kind of like strobe lights that people who had epilepsy, it was triggering them having seizures. So
including like one reviewer who then wrote a guide like, here's how to play Cyberpunk without dying.
I think experiencing a scene that had a lot of flashing lights that were like, and I even thought, I was like, oh, someone's gonna have a seizure to this.
I do know that they've patched it to be different. I don't know how different, but it doesn't trigger epileptics anymore, supposedly. But yeah, Rob, what's the new issue? I haven't heard of anything yet.
So the new one is, you can like gather lore like most games these days, and I think it's like I assume it's a vehicle that this is for, but it mentions how this one particular vehicle is involved in 17% of all violent crimes, despite making up only 2% of the vehicles on the road, which I did not realize until I saw this pointed out are the exact numbers that people use to justify discriminating against the black community when it comes to crimes. So that's cool.
Wow.
Thanks, development team member number 12. Good job.
Gosh.
I guess since I do want to say so far, glitches notwithstanding, I actually really like the game. And had this game come out, let's just say like in September or April, the first two release dates that it was supposed to have, if it had come out in those time frames and it didn't have the glitches that it does right now, I'm actually really confident this would have been my Game of the Year. I really enjoy it, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be. What differs from me to most others on the internet is I tend to try very hard to keep my own hype in check. So even at the peak of like, oh my god, this game's going to be a masterpiece, I was like, well, this game's probably going to be pretty okay. So the glitches, there's no excuse for some of the game-breaking bugs and I guess blatant racist percentiles written into the script, or strobe lights causing seizures. There's no excuses for that. That should have been caught and fixed. Why it's there in the first place, I don't even know. Yeah.
Ollie
But-
just cut it out. I didn't hear her comment there.
Yeah, neither did I.
I said, considering that the game was delayed so many times.
Are you guys not
Oh,
hearing
yeah.
her at all?
No, she cuts
It's
out
just
one
Hear me
like
second.
cutting out a
now.
little bit.
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
No, I said that I think I was too far from the mic. But considering how many times they delayed the game to do these kind of things, like get rid of bugs and stuff like that, and make sure that game is all nice and polished off before they release it, and yet now it's released and we have a mountain of this kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's what he said about it being excusable, I suppose, because shit happens when you're developing games. Like, it's never easy. But yeah, they delayed it so many times so that they could fix it, and obviously it's very still much broken.
But they delayed it so many times and still forced their employees to crunch and put in long hours, and it's still released in this state.
I know, and that's what I mean.
Which shows that the crunch culture doesn't even work. So they should just stop. I think companies should just stop giving any form of release window, or stop giving release windows when the game's not 100% guaranteed to be released. Like, I know Bethesda's a company that's bad for that, but there was one time specifically with Fallout 4 where they did the right thing. Nobody even knew it was in development, and then at E3 they revealed it, and then their release date was, I think it was November of that year. So it wasn't like 2 years in advance that they released it or announced it. It was like 3 or 4 months. But, oh, by the way, it's out in 3 or 4 months. And guess what? It came out in 3 or 4 months. And I think that's how it should be done. But it's realistically the way the marketing machine works to build up sales. That's not how these companies want to operate. They want to spend years building up hype so that despite glitches on launch day, people flood to buy it. So...
yeah.
Holly, is everything good?
Yeah. Too sick.
All right, so
I'll just close up and say that's what I've been playing as Cyberpunk. I do want to just quickly add, I think I already said it, but had it not had these problems and had I been able to spend more time with it before our recording, I actually think it might have been my game of the year. I am really enjoying it, but even with how much I've enjoyed it over the past 3 days, I've been able to play it. With the problems it has, I don't think it deserves to be game of the year, despite how much fun I'm having with it. So the game I've been playing lately is Cyberpunk. But the reason why it's not my game of the year, despite really enjoying it, is because of the problems it has and the culture, the crunch culture that resulted in it releasing. I don't think it deserves to win an award for that, but we'll see what happens next year, because in the official Game Awards, it could be nominated next year because it released after the Game Awards or after their cutoff window or whatever. Which for the record, I think is silly. I think they should do the Game Awards in January.
Yeah, they really a lot of games release at this time. So to do it right now is a little weird, because you're probably going to miss a good number of games that are going to release for
Oh, I've always mentioned that. It's always weird that it's early December. I would do January, the new year off with the Game Awards. I don't know. It's always seemed kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Their cutoff is weirdly close to when the awards get announced. You never turn on the Oscars and see a movie that was released weeks ago. I mean,
it's
the
weird.
new Spider-Man game was nominated this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess from there I'll just go down the way everyone's listed in the Discord window. Nathan, what have you been playing?
Oh, I am a top, aren't I? Well.
Oh shit!
Nathan, you're a bottom, and we all know it.
Oh dear. Well,
hey,
there
don't
I go. As of late, I've actually started playing the Forest again. I've got a new computer. I mean, like, I've basically been going through a whole load of games that I haven't been able to play very well on my old one. So I've done The Forest, I've been doing Mordhau, because cutting off people's heads is entertaining, especially when they're midgets.
Disclaimer, this is all in a video game. Don't take that out of context.
Star Sniper at War, as per usual. There's been a few new mod releases on that one, so Total War, and currently playing Ark, because dinosaurs are cool. There's a new thing being released, which I was like, oh hey, that's ironically good timing for me to pick up this game again now that I can actually functionally play it. Yeah, me being my lore nerd self is excited to learn why all the dinosaurs are here. I can't wait. It's fun. Did everybody just mute? Hello?
No.
Oh.
Rob,
there we go. I'm back.
Yeah.
It suddenly went very quiet for me. I'm like, hello.
All right. So I guess next up is Holly. What have you been playing?
Yep. Remember, you're technically talking through mine, so mine's the one that's going to light up.
I know,
when you talk.
but I'm
Yeah.
looking and I'm not seeing it. Okay, because now it's lighting up, but like I've been watching it just to make sure that I'm. Discord is finicky. Anywho,
you really have to lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've also been playing Cyberpunk 2017. I'm surprised to get. Yeah, I'm surprised to how much fun I'm having with it, because usually I don't like to play first person. Or kind of first person games in general. Just because, especially a game like 77, it gives you a bunch of options to create. And something that usually I'd expect when you make a personal character is that you can actually see them. So that's why I like games like I guess like Dragon Age or Elder Scrolls or the toggle between the two, whether or not you want to play in first person or have the third person view, right? So that's why I was kind of deterred away from it, because I was like, well, I'm not a huge first person shooter fan anyway, and then the whole thing, and but I watched Tom play a couple hours of it. It's neat. And I knew all the hype that was around him. So I figured, hey, I'll. And
let the record show that right before we got into the Discord chat, Holly confessed to me that while she's been playing this video game, she slept with no less than 2 hookers. One was a woman and one was a man.
As per usual for Holly playing games.
Oh, my options. Hey.
I love all the stories of Holly playing various games, especially Red Dead. Love things she does in Red Dead.
I want to do maybe a live stream, or at least a let's play episode on the channel with my sister, as her and I get up to the dumbest shenanigans.
Yes,
it's so funny. Yeah, so we might do that one day, but obviously I have to discuss with the boss. Okay, and then other than
the boss, for the record, is Tipo. We established that.
It's Tipo. Yeah. Well,
got to give her more cat treats, man.
Am I cutting out when I'm?
Yeah,
I can see it doing it. That's anyway. I'll try to speak slow and enunciate. Try and pick me up when I'm talking. So yeah, other than Cyberpunk, I picked up Hyrule
Nice.
Yeah, when it came out. And I think I finished it in 3 days. But that's because I've been off work because COVID sucks for the restaurant business. So, so I started playing that and I liked it. Not the best gameplay in my. I'm just not like it was okay. Like I like the hack and slash style gameplay, but it's very repetitive. So I won't talk too much about that because we will touch on it later. And then I also this year finally played and finished Luigi's Mansion, which was really fun. I loved Luigi's Mansion. I think it's like one of my favorite Switch games of all times right now. And what else? Well, what else did I? Tons of Red Dead. I played a little bit of Pokemon again. I did some shiny hunting. And then what else did I play?
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I for a little bit.
There you go.
And then and I played Project Alice too.
Oh, how was that?
Project Alice?
Yeah.
It's a Korean horse racing game. So easiest way to describe it to you is imagine Mario Kart, except you ride horses. So like you still get like offensive and defensive items to like sabotage other players. And then, but then, yeah, you're racing horses on a map. And so this is the easiest way instead of it not going into super big detail about it. But it's a super fun game and I've been playing it for years. I played it when it was in beta and it was only available in Korea. I meant to questionable things to be able to play it.
Thank you for that.
And so I've been playing it on and off for years. And but I just really like it. I like going back to it every now and again, and you can like breed the horses so you can get different looking stuff like that. So for somebody who's like a big horse lover, and I like riding horses and stuff like that, so it's a really fun game for me to play. And then I play with my sisters.
Yeah. It is a wild ride watching someone play that game.
Yeah.
My favorite is when like I'm playing and then like there's an item where you like electric shock an opponent, but it like will knock your horse right off its feet. And so like your horse will like plummet to the ground and it's fucking hilarious because then people watching me is like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, it's a hoot. It's so fun to
It sounds it.
Oh yeah, it's a riot.
I think it was you who was talking about it earlier. I'm like, what?
I've talked about it before. Just because,
okay.
like I said, I usually play it like once a year at least. Just because I'll be like, I have a hankering. But sometimes I get so pissed off at the game. Because like, I don't know, it's difficult if it's an easy game to play, but it's difficult to master, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I've talked about it before. But yeah, I think that's kind of all that I really played this year. Other than my game of the year pick.
What about you, Rob?
So the main one that I've been playing lately is Lonely Mountains Downhill. It was, I think, 25% off in the eShop's Black Friday sale. I've been wanting to play it for a while because it kind of scratches the same itch that, like, that weirdly enough, that, like, snowboarding games like 1080 do for me. So, like, you just have a mountain bike and you have to go down these mountain trails. And, there's, like, time trials. There's challenges where, you can only crash a certain number of times. And, yeah, it's kind of nicely filling the void that's being left by not having 1080 or something like Steep on the Switch. And it works a lot better than SSX on the 360, which had previously been my pick for that.
Rob, just imagine if they do bring N64 games to Switch Online. 1080 will probably be there, and we can play 1080 at any time online.
You know what? Let's quit our jobs right now in preparation. But yeah, it's cool because like it does, like, you do legitimately have the feel of, there's a set of physics I need to understand, and you have to find the right lines to get down the mountain in the right way. And I've just been getting really into it, as frustrating as it is sometimes. It is a tough game.
What was that, the quad game you and I used to play all the time, Tom?
ATV Off-Road Fury, I still have
it.
Quite the title.
Nathan and I used to have jousting competitions on a side of a cliff.
Yeah.
You'd crash your ATVs into each other and you'd make the other guy fly off the ATV. When we were kids, it was the most hilarious thing in the world.
Of course.
The ragdoll physics in that game. We also
Sometimes
had
you just like have the quad kind of like slanted a little bit, and for some reason the game would register that as like your guy's about to fall off, so it would make it look like the guy just jumps off the boat.
Just suddenly fly off. It's like, what the hell's happening?
Oh, he's talking to the cat, not you, Nathan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nathan, be a shit.
Fuck you.
Falling all over the equipment because she's.
Don't you just hate it when I start crawling all over the equipment?
Right?
We keep
rubbing my face on it.
Yeah, Nathan's actually been on the channel the entire time. It's just that he's always been so preoccupied with fucking around with our stuff. Every time we've ever had technical difficulties, it was Nathan's
name.
Yeah, I'm just sitting on the TV.
Yeah, we have to point a laser
Staring at
pointer
you.
into the corner to distract him. All right, so yeah, I guess we'll get into. I was gonna say the meat of the discussion, but we've got a lot of different kinds of meat here. So the first one is, of course, the Game Awards were the other day, as we mentioned. So I think we'll start off with the announcements of upcoming games. What stood out to everyone?
There were rumors for a very long time, and I actually did not believe the rumors entirely, but Perfect Dark is back, and I don't know how to like. I'm excited to see what a reboot of Perfect Dark could look like in this day and age. But there were rumors for a long time along that same line of like when Playground Games has been rumored to be making a new Fable, and for some reason I believed them. And then when Fable was announced and it was Playground Games, I was still like, nah, the initiative's not working on Perfect Dark. That's everybody's getting their hopes up for nothing. And then that trailer played, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. I wonder what this is. And then as soon as I saw it was a woman holding a pistol, the way Joanna Dark always held the pistol at her side, I was like, it is, isn't it? And then the announcer said, what do you think, Agent Dark or whatever? And then the title came up, and I was like, holy shit. They really are rebooting Perfect Dark. Microsoft is actually going to start using the immense amount of IPs that they own.
What a wild strategy!
I know, right?
That was one that had been rumored for so long. I actually forgot until I saw until like a little after I saw the trailer. Oh yeah, that hasn't been officially announced yet, but now it has.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not years upon years upon years away because it's been rumored for so long. I kind of hope that they maybe at E3 next year we'll get the gameplay, and maybe November next year it'll release or something. Or maybe March of 2023, that'd still be, or of 2022, I meant to say, that'd still be okay.
I was going to say, was that the magic day?
Because I know 343 Industries confirmed the new release date for Halo Infinite is November of next year. So the game that was almost a launch title got delayed an entire year. I think that says a lot about how hard they were trying to rush it out to be a launch title.
Maybe they're just reorienting the gameplay around Craig.
I wouldn't. There was an interview with someone at 343 who actually talked about. They actually love the Craig meme.
Yeah.
They actually explained why because for the sake of that demo, they hadn't like put in complex facial animations on the NPCs for the demo.
For variation.
Right.
So they never expected people to freeze frame it and notice that everybody was just deadpanned. But they actually love the meme, and so he said even after in the final game releases, not all brutes will obviously just be deadpan, but there could be one, and it's Craig.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of cute.
I can't wait to find Craig. I love Craig. It's so fun.
Before the conversation goes off, I just want to say Perfect Dark and Evil West really stood out to me.
Oh yeah, Evil West. That's like for some reason when I saw that, I'm just like, this is like Western Diablo.
Well, I looked at it and went, holy shit, it's just like Dark Watch, which I'll be talking about later.
Okay.
But to me, it just very much surprised me to see Evil West. That was an announcement. I kind of thought that style of game was probably never going to come back. It's when I recently discovered Dark Watch. I just missed out on it somehow back when it came out in I think 2005, and I was streaming it to Rob not too long ago when we were just chatting on Discord, and I was playing it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but I feel like I did say like why the hell isn't this game still around? Or oh my god, why aren't games like this anymore? And
something like that, yeah.
And then in the Game Awards, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, is that a remaster of Dark Watch? And then it's its own thing, but it's probably the same idea. So I'm excited to see whatever that ends up being.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. There were a few that made me kind of, I guess, is it my turn? Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Just me
like
being
looking at a list
beaver.
to like remind myself of what happened at the Game Awards because it's all a blur.
So the first one that actually stood out to me was one that, and it's because my boyfriend loves trying to get me to be like, hey, do you want to play this game? Hey, do you want to play this game? Endless Dungeon. I'm just like, oh boy, here we go again. Because it was Dungeon the Endless is what it makes me feel like it's going to be a off-put of. It's that Dungeon the Endless, like you build turrets and there are like waves of enemies and all that. But it has like the same.
I just want to clarify that they're two different games. Endless
They
Dungeon
are.
and Dungeon of Endless. What did you say?
It's Endless
Dungeon the Endless and Endless Dungeon.
I think they're in the same
different ones.
universe, though.
Okay.
They are.
Because I have seen it mentioned, like, oh, it's the new game in the Endless universe.
Yeah. So my first reaction, and it's purely just because of just my boyfriend loving it. I was just like, oh god, here we go again. I'm going to get like 50,000 messages of just, hey, do you want to play this? Hey, do you want to play this? Hey, do you want to play this? It's a fun game. I'm curious to see the differences in this one because I didn't feel like all the like weird little shit that you could do, like turrets and things. And usually, I'm not sure they're going to bring back the room mechanic because you open up rooms and then each room could have something different in it. But honestly, I'm kind of expecting it to be that way. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Some of them that actually really caught my eye, though, was the one, which might be a little oddly put, but I just love the visual design of it, is Seasons.
That looked really cool.
I want to know what it is, and I want to play it because that game looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it definitely looks like
I noticed
like a very explorative game where it's like it just immerses you in the environment that it creates, which is it looks really cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, the art direction that they took with it is like fantastic.
Yeah, I am legitimately kind of excited for that. And then the other one, oh shit, where was it? I had the name. Fuck, what was the name?
I don't know.
Going through all the names, trying to revive myself. Hold on.
I know. I have my list. I have it right here because I was like, what did I remember?
I just wrote things down in real time, you scrubs.
Internet or does its job for
Yeah,
you.
jeez, I can just look at all this.
Yeah, you can just Google that shit, scrub.
I mean, I've got a notebook right in front of me where I can look at stuff. So,
Oh,
yeah,
a notebook. What are we, cavemen?
I don't know why my brain tripped up on this one, because it's literally such a well-recognized. No, I remember it, and I don't know why I forgot it, but it's the new Warhammer 40k one, the Darktide one. Because I actually, and I can't say I don't, because I like Left 4 Dead 2, but I don't usually like just horde games, like when it's just like, oh, look at all these enemies flying at you. But I to the Warhammer one, and this is made by the same people. Like Warhammer Vermintide was actually a really fun game that I enjoyed. And so when they announced this, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to try this. Like, there is no excuse for me not to. I'm not the biggest. I like Warhammer a lot more than 40k. But at the same time, this looks fun. I'm excited. And it's always good to kill more chaos. I love it.
Yeah, I did kind of think you were going to mention that one when I saw it come up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm down for it. This looks like a fun time to me. Yeah, so those are like the two big picks out of it for me. Although a little one, the Tashia one, that looks cool. I don't know what the fuck is happening in that one, but that looks cool. I want to turn into a crab.
I remember the name. I think that was one of the ones where like it didn't show enough for me to know whether or not I was excited about it.
Yeah, like that's why it's not on like my big two ones that I'm pumped for. Because it's like there seems to be a lot in this game, and I'm not like it seems to be like a mix of like Wind Waker and like Mario. What was the one that you could like possess things? The newest one,
Odyssey.
Yeah, it looks like a mix of like Aussie and Wind Waker and something.
Yeah, it looked kind of cryptic. The trailer felt cryptic. So I was like, I don't know what this is about. So I guess I'll have to wait to find out more. But yeah. But yeah, there was a game released by like a Korean studio. It's called, I think it was called Crimson Desert. And yeah, it looked really cool. It was kind of like an MMO RPG kind of style of game, but it's like it focuses on like single player kind of, right? But like the gameplay looked really cool. Neat.
Is it actually an MMO? I didn't know that.
No, it's just the style. Like that's what it looked like to me. And then I checked my list, but I don't think I found the game on the list. But you from Bandai.
Oh, yeah, that's an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah,
I don't partnered with Bandai. It's like a
yeah, it wasn't on my list.
They technically showed it at the Xbox showcase a while ago. It's
maybe
It was like Scarlet something, wasn't it? Something Scarlet.
I think you might be close.
Scarlet O'Hara.
But yeah, that one I also
Scarlet Nexus.
Oh.
I can hear you. Are you guys not hearing?
Well, no, because I'm watching it, and every time I talk, it's
yeah, it was popping in and out a little.
Yeah.
Fucking Discord.
I don't know why we didn't have this problem before with Jordan.
I don't know. Holly, lean more into your microphone.
Dang. Like I'm right on it, and it's like still sometimes doing it. Anyway, moving on. What else? Oh yeah, I'm really excited for the Monster Hunter Rise. Very excited for that. I really liked World, so I'm interested. What did they? I'm interested.
Thing cut out again.
Hello.
Hi.
We heard you that time.
Yeah, I was just saying that I'm interested.
It cut out exactly the same spot in the word.
The audio interface is picking her up. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no idea either.
Is it like maybe something? I mean, clearly it is something specifically in Discord.
Yeah.
Is it maybe the noise suppression?
Maybe.
Try doing a push to talk on it. Maybe that'll work better. Just press down a button anytime one of you's going to say.
Well, I'm not using Discord from my own computer because for some reason my computer doesn't want to
What?
use a microphone.
I heard her in the distance that time.
Yeah, how is it that we can hear you when you're across the room?
Oh my god.
Technical difficulties. Do. We'll be right back.
And
But
to
see,
see
see, this light tells you whether or not it's picking you up. Just say anything.
yeah. But yeah, they can't hear me.
Yeah, like I heard nothing until like the very end.
So they can hear me.
I
Maybe we
don't
can hear you now.
I don't understand.
I don't know. Always have these kinds of issues with Discord.
I've never had this issue with
always.
Discord.
Discord just hates Holly.
Just talk into the hallway and use the echo to communicate to Tom's microphone.
I mean, it's working.
Like, I'm leaning back and talking into the hallway right now. Is what I'm doing. And it seems to be listening.
All right, let's do that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
Oh, technology, you wonderful creation. What are you doing? What mic are you using?
Oh. Okay.
Can you hear?
Yeah, it's picking me up now. I can see it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
so far.
Try that.
Okay.
Scarlet Nexus.
Well, I was talking about Monster Hunter. So I'm interested to see what they do with the Monster Hunter Rise because I was enjoying playing Monster Hunter World, which was what I was trying to convey before my mic started to cut out. But yeah, there's just a lot of notable things that is just kind of like, I hate to say like fan service for me. Like, I guess the number one thing is that like you have mounts that look like dogs, and that's like the coolest shit to me. So I'm like, oh, I want the game just so I can do that. You know, like I'm a very simple person. If you give me shit like that, I'll play your game for hours.
Yeah.
But no, like I really liked the monsters in Monster Hunter World and stuff like that. So I'm really, really excited to see how Rise turns out. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Scarlet Nexus looked cool. I was like, it gave me like kind of the like new Tales of vibes. I mean, it is like Bandai Namco without what's his face? I forget. Hideo Baba.
That's the Tales.
I kept thinking
Bandai Namco.
I kept thinking Hideo Kojima because I remember Hideo was the name, but I was like, it's the not Hideo Kojima. Which one is it? So yeah, because like yeah, he doesn't work with Bandai anymore because he's doing he did Balan Wonderland.
He's working on it with Square Enix.
Yeah, and so like this Scarlet Nexus kind of reminded me because it has that like anime style that the Tales of games had. So, but it looked really cool. I'm very interested in it, so I probably will play it. Yeah.
What about you, Rob?
So yeah, most of the ones that stuck out to me have been mentioned. I think Sea of Solitude could be pretty good.
Yeah,
it was mostly like the creature design in that really stood out to me.
Yeah, it looks kind of like spoopy. It's spoopy.
The other one was Devolver announced Loop Hero. I don't fully understand the gameplay yet, but I mean, it's like looks like some kind of card babbler, and like kind of in the visual style of a bunch of roguelikes I've enjoyed. So, I mean, I'm eager to find out what exactly it is.
They seem to publish a lot of really good indie games.
Yeah, they are. I think like probably them and Annapurna, I think, are the big indie publishers right now. Raw Fury's kind of in the next tier. But yeah, like, I mean, you know, they do their own presentation at E3 every year now.
Oh, there was something also I wanted to ask everybody. What does everyone think about the continuation of the Mass Effect series?
Should it?
Boy, can I get into that.
I'm not surprised. I'm
very
until I know exactly what the continuation's going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say that depending on how Rob and I actually do it, it potentially means there's another game for Crunk or Crunkette to go to.
Crunkette.
That also depends on how we approach the character creation in Andromeda when we get there, but we will get there.
Are you sure?
Saving the best for last.
Unfortunately, I am sure.
Okay. All right.
All right. Just
it finally gives me the excuse to find myself in that game.
But yeah, hopefully
so
with them continuing the series is that they learn from the obvious mistakes that they made and try to make a comeback for the series, because otherwise they're just going to drive it into the ground, and that's kind of shitty, because like it's such a beloved series and Andromeda kind of already shat all over it in the first place, so to have another game do very poorly is just going to besmirch the name of Mass Effect.
Yeah,
which sucks,
especially with where BioWare is now with Anthem and Andromeda.
Yeah,
if Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect.
I'm excited for Dragon Age 4, but I don't want it to suck.
But if they do, I think BioWare's the next EA studio that's going to get shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've had a lot of rough ones lately.
Yeah.
And EA sure likes shutting down shit, so.
Well, hopefully they kind of learned from, like, obviously they had 2 games that were big mistakes. So hopefully they understand that why they weren't successful. And then they use that knowledge to improve these IPs, right? So, because I'm holding out hope for Mass Effect. I mean,
Jedi Fallen Order was
yeah, right?
But until they do more of that, I don't believe I don't believe that one game has deterred them from doing it again.
Well, not 100%, no, but I think they'll understand that that is what the consumer wants at the end of the day. So if they're not offering that, they're not going to get people to buy it, right? Like they'll shoehorn all the microtransactions they want, but I think, I hope that they know that, okay, well, the consumer actually wants this kind of product, and then we'll just sneak in these little microtransactions, whatever, right? So
and rather
I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for them.
Yeah. I've gone on, I think there are like 2 videos with me doing rants about Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Like, I love this. TLDR is I love the series, but I'm nervous on how they'll go about it now.
Yeah. I know. It's such a scary, unknown place to be.
And where I didn't play Fallen Order, mostly because I'm still super hurt over Disney's choice to get rid of the extended universe. So, but that's my own problem.
I mean, it's a phenomenal game. So
it is. I am planning on playing it. It's just,
gotta wait for the sting to wear off.
Yeah.
It's still sting there. Was from like 2014.
It's still there, Tom. It's still there.
It's just a very hard burn.
Because Star Wars for like a good probably like 60-70% of my life was like my major thing.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars. I love the movies. I love the books. I love the comics. I love the games. And so when Disney was basically like, hey, we're shutting down basically production of them, like all the old ones, like all the old books and everything, you can't, or aren't being printed anymore.
Yeah.
And like, hey, we shouldn't like get rid of this, and all like these favorite characters are just gone. So I was so hoping to hear more about a lot of the characters, like Kyle Katarn's journey always interested me, and the same with Mara Jade.
That would have actually been really fun if in the new movies they had Mara Jade and Mark Hamill.
I would have loved that, honestly.
Mara Jade for Rob and Holly was, in the original lore, she was eventually Luke Skywalker's wife.
Yeah.
Aww.
She went from...
It would have been fun to see.
That would have been cute.
Yeah, she went from being the Emperor's, like, basically his right hand and one of his best assassins, and trying to kill Luke a few times, to falling in love with him, becoming like a Jedi and all. Like, she had an amazing character arc, is basically we're getting to. She was just an amazing character, and so missing, like, I miss her. She was.
I miss her.
I miss her.
I miss her.
Yeah, but you know, once the sting's gone, and I can finally look past all the issues, like, it probably would have been a lot easier. They made things that were actually pretty good, like started off from like right when they got rid of it. If they could have made things that were like awesome right from the get-go, I probably would have gotten over this a lot quicker. But a lot of the stuff, especially lore-wise, has been pretty mediocre, in my opinion, compared to what they got rid of. And it's only recently that they've actually started to step up their game. So,
yeah,
you know,
they realize they're losing their fan base. So
yeah,
like, better shape up.
So yeah, if things were a lot better overall previously, I probably would have bumped into this a lot faster. But
for the record, I have not seen The Mandalorian, keeping that in mind. But so far, the only things Disney's done with Star Wars that I actually liked was Jedi Fallen Order and the Solo movie. That movie.
I've been wanting to see Solo.
It was actually
I've been
pretty
wanting
good.
to see it too. I
saw it, and I'm not like huge on Star Wars, and it was pretty good. I liked it.
I didn't like Rogue One because you knew Jordan freaks out every time I say that because he loved Rogue One, but I didn't like it because you knew the whole plot before it. Like, the plot of the movie is that they're the guys that got the plans to the Death Star that were in Episode 4, and in Episode 4, there's an entire meeting of many Bothans died to get us this information.
No,
so you knew the whole movie. Oh, that was 6, but you knew the whole movie they were all going to die.
Yeah, like you knew they were going to die. I like it from just because there wasn't really like a super solid how did they get the plans. Like, I think the story of how they got it was a little meh in my eyes. So the new one, when it came out, I was like, okay, I could mess with this. If you're like someone who's like watching it, like going from 3 and then to Rogue One and then to 4, like, it's probably a pretty fucking good movie.
Yeesh.
I like it as a movie. And I haven't seen Solo, actually.
I just don't like how it plays fast and loose with its own rules. It's like all the Jedi are gone, except for this guy who's exactly a Jedi, but he doesn't have a lightsaber, so he's not a Jedi. But he uses the Force, and he's blind, and he kicks ass with a sword, but he's not a Jedi.
Well, yeah,
and the entire movie, well, whatever. The entire movie, I'm like you keep saying like, oh no, we've erased the lore, so now there really is only like one alive at this point. It's Luke that we know of, or I guess in that case it would be Obi-Wan and Yoda or whatever, because it's between 3 and 4, whatever. But they established no, this there's no Jedi, there's no this, there's no that, and then in the movie there's this Force user who uses the Force to see, and he fights with a staff, and he does all these flips and kicks and melee combat, and it's like, he's just a Jedi. Just give him a lightsaber so that it's got more eye candy to it. It just bugged it. The movie bothered me for admittedly probably stupid reasons, but it bugged me. Yeah. But Solo was a surprising. I went into it expecting I'm probably not going to like this because I didn't see it in theaters. I admit that I illegally downloaded it because I was like, I don't want fucking Disney to have more a shitty movie. And then when I watched it, I was like, holy shit, this is really good. Too bad I didn't see it in theaters because every other movie they'd done up till now sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I still have to watch that one.
All right, where are we moving on now to?
We haven't gotten. Oh no, we did. Rob did start with his hot takes.
Yeah,
hot takes. Hot shit.
So yeah, I guess next up is discussing the actual awards. Of course, Game of the Year went to Last of Us 2, which was not a surprise to me.
I was actually really hoping Hades would get it, just to be
Hades,
an indie game,
like the underdog,
Hey, I honestly think Hades might have been the only nominee in any category that I played.
Oh yeah, I think I only played one of the Game of the Year nominees too. Only one, which was Animal Crossing.
But yeah, I really thought it was going to be either The Last of Us 2 or maybe Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of
those were my top two.
Yeah, those were my top I had two. Ghost of Tsushima at a bit of a disadvantage just because Sekiro won last year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I really wanted to play Ghost, but I didn't want to play it enough to pay $80 for it. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale. But I kind of do regret like not playing it this year so that I could have it as like a Game of the Year or whatever. But because I really do want to play it. Like when that game was first announced and shown off, I was like really excited about it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is interesting." And then when it came out, flew right under the radar for me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that came out." And then I saw a bunch of streamers playing it and all that kind of stuff, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I still really want to play this game." But then I went to the store and I looked at it, and I went, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth $80 for me right now, so I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale.
That game also added a huge multiplayer expansion that lets you play with other friends that have the game and go through that world together.
Oh, kind of like
free.
Red Dead?
Yeah. Well, no, it was just the open world. It'd be like playing Breath of the Wild with a friend.
Oh.
But they just added it in for free.
That's cool. That's kind of neat.
And I was hoping it would win just to justify, hey, they gave us a cool DLC for free.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that my my sisters are interested in playing it too, so that might be fun. But yeah, because like I want
to play it too. Looks fun.
You what?
I want to play it too because it looks fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just basically agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, no, I just didn't want to cut you off. But I'm like super into Japanese lore and stuff like that. So yeah, I still really want to play it. So and I'm sad it didn't win Game of the Year because it definitely, as well as all the nominees, deserve to do it. But yeah, The Last of Us 2 was not a surprise. Yeah. I think The Last of Us Part 1 also won its Game of the Year. I'm pretty sure
that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure it did. So that's why I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be The Last of Us 2 because already, it was a good game, and then already the fan base is already established for the game. So there's, of course.
Was also the only nominee with a Pearl Jam song in it.
I think that the Game Awards should change up how they structure. I think a game can only be nominated for one award. Personally, because I noticed
no other award show does that though.
No, I guess it just bugged me that Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year,
and they won 5 other awards, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the one cool thing about award show. Awards show. That's the one cool thing about award shows.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. It makes sense.
Oh my god, this won 5 different awards. That's amazing.
Yeah. So obviously it's going to win the ultimate award because it won all the other ones, so no competition there.
Yeah. But I just like to see a little bit more love given to other games.
Yeah, right? Especially since The Last of Us Part 1 also won this a lot, about the same amount of awards as Part 2 did, is what I'm trying to say. So it's kind of oh yeah, everyone forgot about all these other games because the Last of Us series is top notch, and that's fine. But then yeah, I felt it's all the other games kind of got overshadowed because Last of Us 1 best performances, best like director, best like writing or whatever. I don't even remember all that they won, but then it kind of makes everybody else just kind of like lost in the dust, right? Like I didn't see any awards for Final Fantasy VII, like the remake.
I think they won,
and I was like, that game serves
like, original
so
score.
much love because like holy shit, like it's an excellent remake. But like I felt like it just didn't get a lot of attention, so it's just kind of like sad.
Yeah.
And then Hades won one other award.
It won Best Indie Game and Best Action Game.
Yeah, Best Action Game. But like, that game, like Hades is great. Like I think it should have gotten a lot more attention too. So, but I don't know. I guess I'm just
nominated for a bunch of stuff.
I'm not a fan of the Last of Us series, and I think that's why I'm the one person that's like, why did they get to win, right? Like, I'm like the one person.
I'm the same way. It's just like,
I'm just not, I just don't like that genre. That genre that it has, I don't like it. So, I've never played the first one. I've never played the second one. I'm probably not going to. I don't deny that they're good stories, good characters, and good gameplay. It's just not my shit.
My like main issue with it is I've never gotten the impression that The Last of Us does anything really interesting with
That's
gameplay.
mine.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a solid third-person shooter that gets a lot of attention for its story. Which,
I think that's where most of its attention comes from, is because it has really good writing for its characters. So they can be very relatable. And then so people attach themselves with these characters. And I think that's why it has such a huge fan base. And so many people adore it because like they're not really thinking about the gameplay too much. They're thinking about how these characters impact them, how they react to each other, how they impact each other and all that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, these games have amazing writing, but it's a zombie shooter. Which I hate.
And then the game
I used to be fine with zombie shooters, but there's so many. Like, how many zombie shooters did we see in the announcements?
For the longest time, that's all there was for games. So when The Last of Us Part 1 came out, I was like, I'm done. I don't even want to play this. I don't care how good it is. I'm done. So like the whole genre destroyed the Last of Us series for me because I was so sick and tired of zombies. And yes, people can disagree with me all they want, being like, well, they're not really zombies. If they're mindless killing machines that want to eat you, they're zombies. Doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter what different behaviors they have, they're zombies. People get on my ass about saying like Resident Evil is all zombies, and they're like, well, no, they're not all zombies. I'm like, if they want to eat your face, it's a fucking zombie.
I mean, like the whole reason that zombies are so popular in games is because it's easy to make them just like faceless enemies that you can mow down without feeling bad. So
it's just too easy. No matter, it feels like such a cop out.
Yeah, no matter what you call them and where they come from, mechanically they work the same way in every game.
And it's boring. It's so boring.
And I like games like the Resident Evil series and all that, but it's just gotten so there's just so many. It's just so dry.
And like it also used to be the fact that I was like, oh, I hate shooters. Like I don't like shooters. But now I'm beyond the point where I can actually enjoy playing a shooter. But like make it interesting. And the fact that you just use zombies just makes it immediately boring. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Come up with something original, please.
And I really didn't expect that to just turn into all of us ripping on The Last of Us.
I'm sorry. I feel so bad because I know, like, I have a lot of friends that really like those games. So that's why I try to be nice. I'm like, I'm not shitting on the series itself. It's shit on the genre that it's based around.
Yeah, it's
because that's what I don't like. Like, if they had taken every element of The Last of Us and like made it something not around zombies and a virus and all that kind of stuff, I would like it just fine. Yeah, demons, anything zombie.
Anything but fuck.
Oh my god, like
so many of them.
Yeah, like
penguins.
Penguins. Give me penguins.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like I don't shit on The Last of Us as like their games. Like, I know
I don't jam them for what they've done.
And considering that they both won Game of the Year, I have no reason to say that, oh, these games aren't good. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying I don't like zombies, and therefore, this is the reason I don't like or play these games.
Yeah.
Because it's personal preference.
And I'm just tired of zombies. And I used to love zombies. Resident Evil was my jam.
And like, zombies used to be an interesting concept, but then everyone jumped on the bandwagon, and then everything became an unoriginal. Like, what?
Everyone's still jumping on. Like, how many zombie announcements did pop up on this
and of course, every time I watch a Game Awards E3, there's always at least one. And I just sit there and roll my eyes. Here we go, more zombies.
Yeah.
And it's so aggravating. I hate it so much. It's like your game is immediately shit in my eyes if you have zombies.
The original nerd.
My God. Yeah. I don't know. All right, moving on.
All right, so now that
good games with different genre.
Now that we've talked about the completely non-controversial Game of the Year winner that we're all in favor of, let's talk about the games that came out this year that maybe we thought we might enjoy, but that we just didn't get to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess again, just going down the list, we'll start with Nathan.
Oh, fuck me. Hold on. I had a list. Where it is. On my screen, I'm not the top of the list. So you're just like, let's go down the list. I'm like, I'm the third one down. I got time.
Yeah, you are on ours too. So I can see it there. So it's like, Nathan's our top this evening.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And so the one I have written down, and it's slightly negated now because I just downloaded it. And it's not yet the end of it, but I do really want to do Cyberpunk because
say Cyberpunk.
I'm a lore whore. I want to know what the shit this is all about.
Actually,
so that was the major one.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to tell you something that you're probably going to enjoy.
Go for it.
Last night when I was playing it, I actually found a Portal reference in it.
Oh yes.
There's a GLaDOS reference, and I thought it was so cute. I was like, oh my God, it's GLaDOS. GLaDOS is trying to kill me. Yay! So you have that to look forward to.
Hell yeah.
But I won't spoil it for you, but I just wanted to tell you that because
yeah.
Hideo Kojima's in the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting in a bar. I seen him.
So many cameos.
When I talked to him, he said, "Do you have a pitch for me?"
As for other ones that either I didn't have the console for or I just didn't get around to. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Discord just decided to flip up. It was I think it was the Resident Evil one, the remake that got released this year, wasn't it?
3?
Resident Evil 3 remake, yeah.
Yeah. That one I really wanted to do because yet again, especially back then, I loved the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, I do want to play one of the remakes at least.
Yeah. And then
even though it's zombies.
Sekiro, of course. But that's because it looks so cool.
That was last year.
And I've watched. Was it? Oh,
yeah, Sekiro was Game of the Year last year.
Oh, man. Okay, well, never mind.
You're way behind.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I would have to update my list then.
You're not in 2020 yet, Nathan. Turn back.
Well, that's okay. You still didn't get to play them, so you can still talk about them.
Nathan's still living in 2019. He could still go out and do things.
He's the promised child.
I haven't seen Rob in 7 months.
It's been longer than that.
Yeah.
So the lockdown started in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. But yeah, so I guess Sekiro is 2018, the newest Resident Evil remake. Those are two of the ones I really wanted to play. And then Cyberpunk, I'm going to play that. Yeah. Oh, and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because Tom, you showing me that game, I was like, oh, now I want to play it.
I know. I was kind of like, I'm so sick of the Assassin's Creed formula, blah, blah, blah. And then, because I didn't play Odyssey, or I didn't really play... I played a little bit of Origins, but then I was already still kind of petering out. But when I was watching Tom play Valhalla, the best way to describe it is it feels like the Assassin's Creed plot line, kind of takes like a back seat to like everything else that's happening.
Yeah.
Because there's a big like story plot line just completely based around like Norse mythology and lore, which I thought was amazing because I'm such a Norse mythology like nerd buff. So I thought that was really cool. And then like the like expanded the worlds like they usually do in these games and stuff like that. But like when I saw Tom playing it, it gave me the impression that the kind of Assassin's Creed part of it was kind of in the background, which I really liked. Because then it felt different. It felt more unique and stuff.
Yeah, so that was the other one. Holly.
Sorry.
Your points completely. But there is a little funny thing. And I'm pretty sure that Jordan and Rob saw it because Rob commented on it. But did you see the Sekiro animation of it with oh shit, what was that song called? Hold on,
Sing it.
No, I cannot do Michael Jackson.
Oh, cool. We used to know it's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, no. Sorry, song memory. Blame it on the boogie. It was a Sekiro animation to Blame It on the Boogie. I scrolled up and found it. If you ever get the time, this made me laugh. Like it just amused me. It fits so well. But yeah, that's just a little side thing. There was a stupid animation. If you want to watch it, you totally can. I liked it.
All right. So Tom, what were the ones that you didn't get to this year?
Doom Eternal was one I really liked the 2016. I really liked the 2016 Doom. But I didn't want to spend the money on Doom Eternal. And I felt if I am going to pay full price for it, I might as well get Switch version, which didn't release until like I think like a week ago in our time.
Oh,
something like that.
I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
But I really wanted to give Doom Eternal a try, but it never went cheap enough for me to justify spending money on it when everything I saw watching Let's Plays and game footage and everything of it, nothing grabbed me in a way that if I wanted to scratch my Doom itch, I couldn't just go play the 2016 one.
Yeah.
So Doom Eternal, I don't really know what to say about it other than I like Doom and I will play it at some point, but that's one game I didn't really get to this year. The other one is Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I'm morally against the fact that Square Enix won't tell us how many parts it'll be. And
that it's being released in parts.
And
like, it was one game to start with.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
They took what used to be about the first 10 hours of the original game, and they made like a 40-hour game out of it, which is why, admittedly, so I did watch a Let's Play from start to finish of it because I was very interested in it, but I didn't want to spend the money when I don't know how many parts it'll be.
Yeah.
So I watched a Let's Play of it from start to finish. So you could argue I spoiled everything for myself, but at the time,
a remake.
At the time, I just
seen everything.
Yeah, at the time, I justified it by going, "Well, I've played Final Fantasy VII 6 times, so I know this plot." And it is worth saying that I think this is the only one that's actually going to be titled as remake, because they are actually changing the story, but they didn't change it very much until right in the very end of this first part. So I think the next game is just going to be Final Fantasy VII. I don't know, insert title here, and then there'll be Final Fantasy VII, insert title here, Final Fantasy VII, insert title here, and then I can't help but wonder, is Square Enix trying to turn the Final Fantasy VII legacy into their Call of Duty, where they can just, it's a new year, it's a new part, and if that's the case, if it's going to be like 3 parts, maybe 4, I can be like, all right, well, since you are doing something new with it, it might as well be its own rather than looking at it as one game that's been split into parts, I can look at it as it's a new series that's just borrowing the characters. And I can look at it that way and say, okay, well, if it's like 4 parts, it's fine. It's like a trilogy, and the prologue is finally out of the way, or something like that. But I have this gut feeling that we're going to be seeing sequels to this for like the next decade, and I don't like that. But what's interesting to me is that this game, it's self-aware to it being a remake, because that's actually part of the new plot and change. Is right in the very end. Spoiler warning for everybody who didn't play it when it came out like fucking 10 months ago. The very end of the game, it reveals that throughout the game, there's these like black demons that show up, and you fight them once in a while, but they do weird things. Like, for example, in this game, there's a character that died that Cloud didn't get to in time in the original game. In this one, you do get to them in time, and then these black demons show up and try to kill them, and you kill them before they kill the guy. And near the end of the game, Sephiroth actually teams up with you before the protagonists are consciously aware that he's actually the villain. And Sephiroth teams up with you and reveals that these demons are actually like servants of like essentially the god of time.
It's like Final Destination shit.
They're trying, they're trying to force the timeline to follow the course it's supposed to follow. So Sephiroth tricks you into thinking that they're the evil villain, I guess, and your party, along with Sephiroth, kill essentially the god of time. Then Sephiroth is revealed to be the villain and confesses that he knew his plan would fail because it's already happened and nobody but him knows it. But now that the god of time has been killed, he now knows where he went wrong the first time and how he failed, and it won't happen again. And that's like the plot twist. So
that's very cool.
The plot twist is that this is both a reboot and kind of a sequel, because there's something about the way it's worded. It implies that this is actually the same Sephiroth from the first game.
But it's like a parallel timeline kind of situation.
The theory I've heard is in the end of the first game, how you killed Sephiroth was basically casting him into kind of like a black hole. But it was a black hole of time where he'll never exist, but he'll never not exist, and he can never get out. So the fan theory is that he escaped, but he just so happened to escape prior to escape into the past prior to him executing his whole plans. So there's a theory that there's actually 2 Sephiroths running around, one that knows the future and one that doesn't. And you're the main protagonists of the game aren't aware of that yet, of course, but I am intrigued in whatever part 2 onward does with this universe now that they have. I think that's why this wasn't named Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. I think this is the only one out of the series
that'll be considered
a remake, because 90% of its plot was the same, but part of its plot was breaking the shackles of having to be a remake. So I'm curious and interested in what happens moving forward, but I'm just a cheap asshole. I don't want to spend more than like
I know, but like
$10 on something that is technically a recreation of a game I already own. No matter how pretty it is and how good it looks, if there's going to be 10 parts to this, I'm already not interested, because I don't have the fucking time to play 10 40-hour games.
Or the money.
Or the money. So I might just wait a decade until all 10 parts are out and there's the inevitable definitive collection and then buy that. But even then, I'm never going to fucking finish that.
That's a long fucking game.
Like I have problems finishing games that are over like 15 hours. So, it's just, there's the part of me that's like, all you had to do was, I like that you're doing something new, because I like that for lack of a better way of putting it, it's like it's the Dragon Ball Super to Dragon Ball Z, where it feels like now I can see new adventures with these characters I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
That excites me. But it didn't need to be that. All it needed to be was the old game with shiny graphics and a new combat system. But I feel like the decision was made at some point to milk Final Fantasy VII dry. And it scares me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see it in kind of a different way. Like, I see it, I guess, in more of a positive way than you do. Because, like, I think about, like, we live in the age where everything is remake on nostalgia. Everyone's making money off of nostalgia. Movies doing it, TV's doing it, and now gaming is doing it. So the fact that Square Enix took such a beloved series as Final Fantasy and their most beloved entry as Final Fantasy VII and took it and kind of changed the story to expand on it, to make, I don't know, to like make something, to revive it instead of making it repetitive, if you know what I mean. Because like, yeah, we get remakes all the time. And like you said, it's the exact same game. So why would you pay $80 for a game you already own that you spent less on back in the day, but because it has, well, whatever. But now it has pretty graphics and all this kind of stuff, right? But now you can justify paying that price because you're like, yeah, it's technically a new game. It has different content. It has different story in it. So you aren't buying the exact same game. You're buying a different game that you just said before is you're extending the adventure with these characters that you already know and love, right? And I think that's what Square Enix is trying to do, is that they know how much these characters mean to people, and they want to expand their story and expand their world. But I do agree with you in thinking what Square Enix plan is that, like, yeah, they're kind of going to make a series out of it. I don't think you're going to see 10 parts, but I think likely we'll see another, like, 2 or 3.
If they were to come out today and say their plan for it is a trilogy, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because it's technically a whole new series, essentially.
Yeah.
It just bugs me on principle that they have not told us that.
The
title of this game doesn't even have part 1 in it.
I know.
But they have... That just bugs me.
Yeah.
That's my
But
thing.
I don't think they're trying to, like, milk the cow, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, yes, it is a corporate decision because they are a business at the end of the day, but I don't think it's an EA intention, if you catch my drift. It's not like a malicious intent, you know? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, EA has been pretty good with all their IPs and stuff like that, and not every Final Fantasy game has been, like, great. Sorry, there's a reverb coming in through my headphones, so I keep like, where am I?
Are you guys hearing a reverb?
No.
No, it's because I can hear my voice echoing in the hallway, and then I hear myself on headphones. So that's why I'm all like getting all trippy and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I think the future is bright for if they continue to do Final Fantasy VII as kind of like a new story line. Because I always appreciate that when like game creators and stuff like that know that these IPs and these characters like mean so much to their fans, and then they say, well, let's give them more. They love this, so let's give them more. And sometimes that doesn't always turn out like Mass Effect. But at least they tried, you know? Like, that's all we ask for, is that they try to do stuff. If it doesn't turn out, then stop. Then don't do it. Right? And then you made a mistake, and then you're like, okay, we realize that this is not the direction we want to go. Leave it good and leave it alone, right? So, but I would think that if I was like a creator and I made something that people adored and like really latched onto my characters and stuff, like, hell yeah, I'd want to give them more of like their story, their world building and stuff like that. Cause like the most fascinating thing to me is how imaginative people can like create such expansive worlds and lore out of almost nothing, just like whatever's in their own head, right? So sometimes you want to see all this different perspectives that you would never think about, right? So when these worlds get expanded, that's something that I get excited about. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Those are the two big games I didn't get to play that I would have liked to.
Cool.
Cool.
Molly, what were your choices for this category?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, the ones that I didn't get to play
yet.
Right.
Well, all of the nominees except for Animal Crossing, I didn't get to play. I also wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. I did not want to play Doom. Hades, not my thing, but it got so much attention. I was kind of like, maybe I should try and play it. But like, I wasn't like super gung ho about it. And then, of course, I wanted to play Ghost of Tsushima. And then what else came out this year that wasn't nominated?
It doesn't have to be nominated, just a game
that wasn't nominated, so that I know what. I don't remember what came out this year. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, maybe it was something I wanted to play, but it came out this year and I don't remember what it was because it wasn't a nomination. Oh well.
There are a lot of games that came out.
Oh, there was a new. There was a game that I actually played this year that I totally forgot about. That I just bought on the eShop on a whim, and it was called. What was it called? It's called Spirit of the North. Yeah, and I bought it on my Switch for like $30, and it was this cute little like puzzle game where you this little fox. And but yeah, man, was it fucking adorable and charming. But anyway, it just completely popped into my head that I just remembered that I played that this year. I don't know if it came out this year, but I always forget about like indie games and like those like smaller games because obviously they don't get as much attention as like the big games that everybody wants to play. So I always forget about them. But I figured I'd mention that because I did play it and it is a smaller independent game. But yeah, no, other than that, there wasn't anything that I wanted to play that I think Nope, that's a lie. I wanted to play Crash 4. That's right. I managed to finally finish the Insane trilogy this year. I finally sat down and played all 3 Crash games. And then Crash It's About Time came out. And I was like, ooh, I really want to play that. But I haven't finished the Insane trilogy yet. So I buckled down and I finished the Insane trilogy just to refresh my memory because I played all the Crash Bandicoot games when I was a kid. And Crash 3 is my favorite, by the way. And then when Crash 4 came out, I was like so excited. I was like, oh, it looks so good. It looks so fun. And then all the things that people have been saying about it, it seems to be like very close to like the original roots of like Crash Bandicoot and like how it's structured and like how it plays. Because there's been other Crash Bandicoot games, but we don't talk about them. Yeah.
The one where he gets laid.
No. Why? But no, because there was after Crash 3, there was like there was a Crash 4, but a lot of people are calling it It's About Time Crash 4 because nobody liked the actual Crash 4. I think it was Wrath of Cortex. I think that's what was the other Crash 4. But they had a bunch of other ones that like released on the Wii and stuff like that. And they totally changed the design of Crash. And like, this is old news. But anyway, so seeing Crash It's About Time, just kind of like lit up a little light in my heart. And I was like, it's like the Crash I know and love. And I want to play it so bad. So, but like by the time I thought to get it, it was kind of around the holidays. And I never buy games around the holidays unless I have to play it. Hyrule Warriors. Because I don't want to be that person where they're like, oh, why didn't you just tell us you wanted that for Christmas? We could have bought it for you. So I haven't wanted to play Crash 4 that bad. So I figured I'd wait till after the holidays in case somebody wanted to get it as a gift. So that's the only reason why I didn't play it this year. And yeah, I think those are the only ones that I can think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your turn, Rob.
Well, in contrast to people forgetting about indie games, both of the ones that I had to talk about are indie games. So the first was Paradise Killer. Mostly, it sounds like it's kind of like an adventure visual novel blend, which wouldn't normally be my thing. But I like the sort of mystery solving aspect of it, because you are an actual detective in the game. And because I actually did get really into Hades, and we will talk about that later.
Yeah.
This was sort of a game that had that Hades effect for me of oh man, everywhere I go, people are talking about this and how good it is. And just the visual style looks cool, so I'll probably get to that. I just kind of ran out of time this year.
You just reminded me, for some reason, another game I wanted to play this year was Panzer Paladin, and I never got to it.
Oh, yeah.
Which is weird, because it's not that expensive.
Yeah. Well, it sounded pretty cool at first. I watched Continue play it. It looks really good.
Yeah. Huh. Let's pause this entire podcast. I'm going to go play it, because it might be my game of the year. Because it looked a lot like The Messenger, but with a mech, and it was just cool looking.
Yeah. So yeah, and then my other choice was something that the last 2 years, I actually kind of thought going into things would end up being my game of the year, which was the Red Lantern.
Yeah.
It got announced last year, and I saw the indie presentation where it got announced. Oh man, that's so cool! I've never seen a dog sledding game before. I have to play this. And I just kept getting so excited for it. And then they announced hey guys, we're not progressing on this as fast as we thought, so it's going to be a 2020 release. So
yeah.
That seals it. It's going to be so much better than I thought, and it's going to come out in 2020. It's going to be my 2020 game of the year. And then they showed off the gameplay, and it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
Again, it is more of kind of an adventure thing.
Yeah, it's definitely more of an exploring kind of.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll talk about this later too, but I do like the idea of a game that's about exploration.
Yeah.
This one, it kind of seems like just a choose your own adventure book in the form of a video game, which I'm not against. For some reason, dog sledding stories have always really appealed to me, and I don't know why. So I might still play it. It's just the gameplay doesn't look as much like my thing as I kind of thought it would.
Yeah, because I was excited for that one too. And then when I was cruising the eShop, I did see that it was on there, and then I watched the trailer for it again, and I was like, I'm not as into this as I was when I first heard about it, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like you're all that active in it.
Yeah.
Especially from what I've heard of the reviews, it kind of seems like it's mostly just down to luck as far as the scenarios you run into.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you petting the kitty? The kitty is a distraction.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about the games we didn't get to this year, let's talk about the ones that we did fill our time with that didn't come out this year.
So is this our actual personal game of the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
it didn't come out this year, but we had fun with it this year, and we liked it this year.
And we got into it for the first time this year.
Yes.
Yeah, so this year we've decided to add a new category into our Game Award personal games of the year. This doesn't have to be a game that released in 2020. It just has to be a game we played for the first time in 2020, so that it can still get some sort of recognition as a game of the year for us. Yeah, that's that's the deal here. So everybody knows their two, I hope.
Oh, we had to pick two. Shit!
I mean, this
think.
is not an official thing.
Hold on. I'll think of something. Just make
I know
last.
what one of yours is. Make Holly go last.
Yeah.
So who's
All
first,
right.
Rob?
All right, yeah, I guess let's mostly stick with the same order. Nathan, what were your choices?
Okay. So actually I had to change one because one of them I played 2019, not 2020 for a little bit.
Shame.
Shame.
Well, whatever. So the first one, which Rob does know because I messaged him, is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire.
Mhm.
That is a fun game. It's like Pillars of Eternity. It's good universe. It's, wow, I'm not really selling it, am I?
It was good.
No, it's a really good universe, and I like the whole story around it. But what I really like about it is you can be a pirate if you want. There's a lot of just sea shanties and sail on the ocean, and it's turn-based strat.
I just pictured
strategy.
Boxer in EB Games or something. Some guy's browsing and I wonder what this is, and they look at the cover and how some games have this one won game of the year, or reviewers say this is the best game ever. Taglines on the bottom. It's good. You could be a pirate.
You can be a pirate.
You can be a pirate.
That's not even capitalized.
Yeah, you can be a pirate.
Nathan's just sitting down with his ruffled shirt and his hat to play it every time.
Oh, you know it. No, so it's fantasy. I'm a wizard pirate. I go about, blow stuff up, and make friends with a dragon.
I'm a wizard pirate.
I'm a wizard pirate. It's just a solid, fun game, especially if you like strategy games and sandbox ones. I do like some of the decisions you get to make in it. It's pretty fun. If you played the first one, a lot of shit that you chose to do in that one can carry over. It's actually a little crazy just how many choices you made can affect small outcomes and everything, and how the second game plays out. But yeah, solid game, solid gameplay. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's fun. You should play it. It's really good. I love it. So second game, which didn't release this year, but I've really enjoyed, is Raft. It's a little indie one. They're still releasing bits of it, but it's just relaxing to me. Sure, there's a shark that is a little bit of annoyance, but just you're on a raft in the middle of the ocean, you build up your raft, you go little places. It's cute, and I like it, and it's really chill and really relaxing, and I've hours and just game and floating on the water and hooking barrels with my little hook and seeing what's
hooking
inside.
barrels on hooks.
It's a good game. So yeah. Both of mine are.
Oh, you totally
Discord
chipped
did
out
not
on
like
that.
that.
Yeah, wow.
It's too high pitched for the mic.
So high pitched. Both of my games, I just realized, are just you're on the water, just floating.
Oh, whatever.
Just
Tis
going
a game.
on a seafaring journey.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that this year.
Yeah.
Man.
Fuck this place. I'm
This
leaving.
place, I just want to go float in the water.
Float
go
in the
find a
ocean
new
and
place.
find out where I land.
I don't
Yeah.
even want to see land for 9 months.
It's a great way to social distance.
It is. Just go far away from everybody.
Far, far away.
Far away.
Can't get COVID from no shark.
Hey.
New news articles. COVID can affect sharks.
It turns out that's the origin. You fool!
You fool.
It's our trap card. Aha!
My trap card.
The sharks have been planning this the entire time.
All right, so I know, Tom, you've mentioned one of your games for this category already, but I'm curious to hear what both of them are.
Nathan was present when I discovered this other one for the first time.
Yeah.
So this year, I managed to temporarily, I think, but I managed to repair my original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been diving into some games that released on it that haven't been forwards compatible with either the Xbox 360 or thus far Xbox One and Series X or Series family, I guess.
Family. F is for family.
Family.
So I've been trying to track down games that aren't forward compatible with those systems. I actually found out one of them is, and it's Darkwatch. Darkwatch does work on the 360, which for some reason I did not know that before. But the other one is 007 From Russia with Love.
Yes.
Those two games, I discovered them both in the same evening, and it was it was a very fun evening. When From Russia with Love, when it released, that was like not at my peak fandom of the 007 games, but it was back when the 007 games were all consistently good. For those of you who might not remember, or maybe you were too young to remember, the 007 video games, even though they're licensed games, they used to be game industry staples. Like, they were like not annoying like Call of Duties or Assassin's Creeds are in terms of releasing, but they were like, well, I don't know what to compare it to, but they were the game that was, when it came out, it was always so good and people were excited for the next one, and 2 or 3 years later there'd be a new one, and they would always be good. They'd always have really fun multiplayer, and the campaigns would always be super campy and super fun. Even the ones like on older systems like the Nintendo 64, like even if you were too young to remember that system, you're pretty hard pressed to find a gamer that doesn't at least know the legacy that GoldenEye left behind.
Yeah.
So anyway, I played 007 From Russia with Love for the first time this year, and it is so fun. Like, oh man, like
play, it's a blast.
The very first mission, you get a jetpack and you're flying around a clock tower and you're shooting down helicopters. And then the very next mission, you're stealthing through this hedge maze and taking down guards. Then in the next mission, you're driving the Aston Martin. It's his iconic car from that era.
Yeah.
The movie's based on the Sean Connery era, and borrows plot elements from the movie of the same name. But you're driving the Aston Martin, but it shoots rockets and has turrets, and you're driving through, like, I can't even remember where it was. I think it's Germany. I can't remember.
No, it was Russia.
Was it Russia? It makes sense.
Yeah, it'd be weird if it was Germany.
I can't remember the name of where they were, but it was definitely Russia.
For some reason, I thought it was, and I thought it was like a layover spot, but I don't remember. It must have been Russia. But you're driving through the streets, and there's these cars coming after you, and you just shoot them, and it steers like an old arcade game, but it shoots like an arcade shooter. And it's just, from start to finish, I was just having so much fun with it. And of course, I was doing a stupid Sean Connery impression the entire time.
We both were.
But it's just so fun, and I can't really describe it in a way that would convey that. I was actually really impressed by its visuals for the time period and the console it released on, with the exception of its like aspect ratio and resolution. It would easily pass as an Xbox 360 game, and that just surprised me. But I had so much fun playing it. The other one is Darkwatch, which, for those who aren't aware of it, Darkwatch, it's a first person shooter, but it's also like gothic horror and western. So it's like if Bloodborne took place in the Wild West, but had the gameplay of Doom. And it just... Oh, and there's melee combat as well. Rob didn't get to see that. I eventually got a bludgeoning weapon that was really fun to run around. But it's... The weapon variety is fantastic. Every weapon feels different. And like iconic, I guess you could say cowboy-isms. Like the pulling out the revolver and then firing really quick by flopping your hand over the hammer as you fire to make the gun go bang, 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 bang. You could do that, and it's so satisfying to gun down these like vampires and demons. You become a vampire, and
cowboy vampire.
Yeah, and you're a vampire who's also like a vampire hunter. But you do have like RPG styled like path choices where you side with one faction or another. And there's a very, I wouldn't say very graphic, but there was a scene I did not expect because it kind of came out of nowhere. But there's an actual sex scene where a member of the Dark Watch, which is these like vampire hunters, she has always wanted to have vampire powers and be eternally youthful and whatever. So she just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's almost exaggerating for me to say seduces you, because she basically is like oh, I need to talk to you, and then it cuts to like this rooftop, like the shot of the building while it like zooms in on the rooftop and it's raining, and I'm like, oh, what dramatic
thing
plot turning dialogue am I about to hear? And then it just does full on, like it's still like 6th gen console graphics. Like they don't look bad by any means, but like it's not super high details that you see nowadays. But they just straight up use like some camera angles and shots that you'd see in like a high production porno film. And it's I was like, oh, I wonder what dialogue I'm gonna hear in this scene. Then all of a sudden there's there's these like huge tits flopping around. She's moaning and she's begging him to bite her neck, and I'm like, holy crap.
Didn't see that coming.
That literally escalated very quickly.
Some talk.
And then after the scene, she's now a vampire, and it's the plot moves fast. I didn't realize
that vampirism was an STD.
Well,
that's always kind of been an implication.
It's an STD.
But one thing I really like about the game is it just starts and goes, and it slows down right when you get tired of how fast it is, but then it picks up speed again, and it's so visceral and satisfying. I don't know. It's both of these games. I experienced them for the first time in the same evening. But Dark Watch, I came back to for a couple days and played through basically the entire game. I'm almost finished it. And I don't know what it is about Gothic horror. I've always loved the visual style of, and that's something that, for example, Bloodborne really, really captivated me with. So to see like Gothic horror Wild West, which is something I don't have a lot of experience seeing, I was so impressed by like, oh wow, this is so unique, so cool. And then the gameplay being like, I just compared it to Doom. It's so fun. Like it is so fun. It's gonna get played on the channel at some point, but I fell in love with it so quick. I fell in love with it so quickly. I love Dark Watch. If it wasn't for the fact that it came out this year, it would be my definitive game of the year 2020, hands down. I loved it. It was so good. It is now forever one of my favorite games. And from reading up on it online, it turns out it actually almost did get a sequel, but Capcom decided to kind of let the licensing rights expire and then open them up for sale, and nobody ever bought them. So the game just kind of sits in limbo, and I think that's why it's never had like backwards compatibility support on like say Xbox One or Xbox Series X and S. But it's man, I love it. Dark Watch is so good. I highly recommend it to anybody who likes shooters, to anybody who likes gothic horror, to anybody who just wants to play a vampire game, power fantasy, where a chick with like huge tits just fucking comes out of nowhere, and it's just so funny and so campy as well. The dialogue is super cheesy and campy, which I think adds to its charm. It's a surprise game that I'm shocked I've never heard of it before, but I love it. It's really good. And Nathan, I don't think you actually said which one do you give your award to.
Oh, that's right.
Oh. Hold on.
Well, I'll just say, for me, I don't
know. I think it's Dark Watch. I have a funny feeling.
Dark Watch wins my personal game of the year 2020. But yeah, Nathan, you should say which one actually wins your award.
Okay. So mine was a little odd because it's not one that I usually it's not usually go for an award, but I found myself playing it quite consistently at various parts throughout the year and just enjoying it. And it's in here because it did officially release this year. There were betas before, but I don't count those. And it beat out Baldur's Gate 3 for me because Baldur's Gate 3 was my runner-up.
This would be the winner of like the two games you were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, it gets that. Okay, so now you know that Baldur's Gate is my runners up.
Yeah, the ones you just talked
about. So that one for me for this year is definitely Pillars of Eternity 2. That was great. Of the two that I played.
Sweet. Yeah, the ones that didn't come out in 2020.
Yeah.
Cool
Pillars of Eternity.
Cool beans.
Yay.
Beans.
Beans.
Are you ready, Holly, or is it Rob's turn?
No, I guess I'm ready. I was very firm on which one that it was just boom. That's my chosen game of the year. So I was just like, I forgot I had to have two, but I think I have it. But I just don't know because I don't know if it came out this year or not. But oh well,
it's okay.
I'm breaking the rules.
I didn't remember what it came out on, so you're probably fine.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess my two choices. Yeah, I'd mentioned it before because it just popped into my head, and I thinking that that it would be a good nomination for my chosen game of the year because I really liked it. Was the Spirit of the North. Because I was literally bored, and then I was like, oh, what's on sale in the eShop? And then, we mentioned before, Rob was talking about the Red Lantern, and I looked at that one, and then I ended up picking up Spirit of the North, because I was like, oh, there's cute little foxies on it, and it looks really cute, and I just run around as this little fox and whatever. But, so I guess now that I'm choosing it as a nomination, I'll go into more depth about kind of like what the game's about, even though I don't really know what it's about, because it's one of those like kind of cryptic, kind of artsy titles, I suppose, which I'm not super into because I don't like being confused because I'm dumb and I don't figure stuff out quite right away in some games. So, but basically the story kind of starts out as that you're just a fox, and what the world kind of looks like, it looks like that kind of like human civilization doesn't really exist, but it used to. And then, you're a little red fox, and then you meet a spirit fox, and the spirit fox kind of guides you through this land. And I'm so gonna butcher this, what this is about, because I don't really know what it's about. So I'm just gonna describe it as I saw it. But, so there's a mountain that's like way off in the distance that kind of has this red mist coming out of it. And what I grabbed of it was like, maybe this is what kind of destroyed the rest of the world or whatever. So basically you and the spirit fox have to try to get to this mountain. And so along the way you solve like little puzzles and things like that. And it was yeah, it was just super cute, and it was such a relaxing game to just sit and play. I finished it within a few hours. But like, cause there's zero dialogue. There's no instruction on what you're supposed to do, what your main goal is to do. Like, it's all like subjective to how you perceive the visuals that you're seeing. And it was very, the lore was very like centered around like, I think it was, Norse mythology and Nordic mythology and, which is, I think, a bit different. And the Northern Lights had a big part to play in like the story. But yeah, no, it was just such a nice little relaxing game, and it was cute because you're jumping around as little foxes, and that's just adorable. And yeah, I was just surprised at how much I actually enjoyed a game like that, because usually I like heavy story and stuff like that, but I like to kind of understand the story, if you know what I mean. But this game gave me very much like Journey and Abzu vibes, if any of you has ever played either of those games. But that's like the vibe. What are you laughing?
Don't worry about it, that's coming up.
Anyway, so yeah, those are the kind of vibe that it gives off. And then my other chosen one was Luigi's Mansion, because I bought that for Tom for his birthday. Because
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Luigi's Mansion 3, yeah, because it came out last year on Tom's birthday, and we didn't buy it. I don't know why. But then your birthday came around this year, and I hummed and hawed about, what should I get you for your birthday? So then I figured, fuck it, it's a good time to buy Luigi's Mansion. And I think I had more fun with it than you did. I mean, you still haven't finished it, but we're playing through it together. But I started my own playthrough and did it by myself. But I was just so surprised at how like cute and charming that game is, and I just had so much fun. Like, I played it for hours. I stayed up till like 2:00 in the morning playing it, and then I'd be sad because I would have to stop playing it. But it was just so cute. I was just like, I never thought that I would like be so enamored with like Luigi of all things. Like, why Luigi? Like, but it was so cute, and I loved every second of it. But yeah, my chosen like personal game of the year was definitely Luigi's Mansion. Like, it was just so fun to play through it. Like, there wasn't a second or a moment that I was like, this is kind of getting old. I don't really like this. Like, every single time, like, I went to a new floor, I was like, ooh, what am I going to see next? Ooh, what's going to happen next? And it was just, it's just so cute. It was lovely. I loved it.
Good old Luigi.
Good old Luigi. Good old Luigi.
Good old player 2.
Luigi's the best one. What are you talking about? He's green.
Everybody loves Luigi.
Yeah. Luigi.
So I guess the first of my choices is Burnout Paradise Remastered, which finally came out on the Switch this year. And that, like, I bought Burnout 3 a few years ago and got really into that. So, I mean, I love the really aggressive arcade racing.
I played the shit out of that when that first came out.
It's a great game. So yeah, I mean, like, Burnout Paradise has that. I've seen it get a lot of criticism for the open world. A lot of people seem to prefer, the style of something like Burnout 3 where you just choose missions from a menu.
Oh, really?
I actually think the open world really helps Paradise out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, these cars are just so much fun to drive. Like, a lot of the time, you just want to cruise around, like, practice with them. I mean, there's so much to do. Like, you can go for records on how long it takes you to go down this street, or you can find billboards to crash through and stunts to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to do in that game, and it's just, like, all of it's just so much fun to do.
That you unlock new cars by destroying cars you come across.
Yes, that's another.
Cool I used to play the game for hours. Just I wouldn't do the missions. I would just demolish everything. Like just
everything.
I would try
burn.
Like my sisters and I used to have competitions of who could have the most dramatic crash. Like how bad can we make this look?
Sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun.
So yeah, that was my first choice, and then going back to what you said about Spirit of the North, my second choice was Abzu, which I finally played for the first time this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I named Journey like my game of the decade.
Right.
Then I think it was in like March. It was like shortly after things started locking down. I saw Abzu was on sale in the eShop. So I thought, oh yeah, I've been meaning to play that. I'll pick it up. Thinking, maybe I'll do it like part of it Friday night after work and then maybe finish it on the weekend. So I started it at 9 and then finished the game and looked up and I'd been playing for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Which I never do. But yeah, it's from the same like visual director as Journey. A lot of the same team. It's got the same developer. Not the same developer, the same composer. So like it's got a lot of the same feel. But I feel like it encourages sort of exploration and just slowing down and really taking things in more, which I like. And I don't know, just like that deep sea environment is something that's always interested me. Not to get into spoilers, but especially later in the game, some of the areas you get to. And
it's so pretty.
Yeah. That's another one we've talked about, playing on the channel eventually, once we're able to.
Is Abzu?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Journey, too, at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
There's a list of 200 games that I know. Oh, that'd be great for this person to play with this person. Oh, that'd be great for this and this. But all of them require us to be able to play them in person.
Room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, COVID.
But yeah, it even goes so far as like one core mechanic of the game is there are these shark statues that you can find, and you just you press a button to meditate, and the character just sits down on top of it, and you can just go around sort of inhabiting different creatures and just seeing them go about their business. I think I'm looking at how long it took me to finish the game and what people are saying it took them to finish the game. I figure I probably spent about half of my time doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful, pleasant game to play.
Especially in these times, you just kind of want something to just relax and just enjoy, and that's a good game to do that with.
And the next day, I was thinking, man, should I play Abzu again? Right now? But yeah, that's why it's my winner for this category.
Nice.
It's just it's actually been I guess not a really long time, but it's there aren't a lot of games I've played that I got that into that immediately.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so now it's now I guess it's time to get to the actual technical game of the year choices.
Well, I jumped on a little early.
So these are the ones that actually came out in 2020 and that we got the most into. So I guess as with the other categories, I'll get Nathan to start us off.
Wow, guys. So I don't think you knew, but my runners up might be Baldur's Gate 3.
What?
Wow.
That's so surprising.
So what are the two games? Just say the names first.
Yeah.
So that one, and then my top one, which is very not like me to usually enjoy these kinds of games, but it's Risk of Rain 2.
What's that?
It's how to describe it. It is basically fuck, I don't know how to describe this. Okay, it's basically like a like a shooter. Jesus Christ, what do you call those games? Hold on 2 seconds.
Shooters?
It's like one of the games where the idea of it is like you should never stop shooting.
Oh, like bullet hell?
Yeah, it's a bullet hell.
I played the first one, but I thought they were completely different because the first one's like a 2D sprite based.
Yeah, like they completely changed up basically
1
the
second.
graphics and the perspective in the sequel.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
So we know Baldur's Gate 3 and Risk of Rain 2. My 2 games are Animal Crossing New Horizons
Sorry about that.
and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Are you sure?
Okay.
I just wanted all of us to go around and say the names first before Nathan can. Ollie, what's yours?
I talk a lot.
Well, my 2 was also Animal Crossing New Horizons, and then Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
All right, and my 2 were In Other Waters and Hades.
Hades.
I really want to play Hades so bad.
Really
It's
good.
another game.
Really good.
It's another game that's on the list of, hey, I should do this.
Okay.
But yeah.
So now you can continue, Nathan. I
Okay.
just took advantage of your momentary absence to get everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, Risk of Rain 2 is a bullet hell, and I don't tend to like bullet hells, but it's got a lot of charm to it. Like, it's a really cute game. I like how it looks. It plays really smoothly, and you can just do a lot of like. Wesley makes fun of me for a lot, but my favorite thing to do in it is grab the Arcanist class and just fuck off into the sky. Like, that's what I do. I just fly super high up and then just like rain ice spikes and bullshit down upon the mortals below me. And it's just like the classes are all super different. It's just really well and is balanced, and they've added a lot of like really creative like replayability into it, so you can get like artifacts and such, which will completely change the game. Like, usually you go around and like you have to buy equipment, but there's one artifact that enemies will drop equipment instead. There's another one that like it will decrease the health of enemies, but it will like up the spawn rate of them by like a pretty crazy amount, actually. And so it's really nice to see a game in which you can easily abuse the systems if you so desire, but the creators of the game made really fun systems, and even though they're abusable, they're like, whatever, if you want to play the game to abuse it, like, that's what you do. If you want to use these systems to just like make your own weird creative playthroughs, like, go for it. So it's nice to see a game that oddly isn't balanced to death, if that makes sense. Yeah. You can get so insane with it, or you can just play it like, or you can make it super hard for yourself. You can go either way. And I don't know, it's just so relaxing to play, and the music in it is
bullet hell. It's so relaxing.
I find these things relaxing, okay?
Therapeutic.
Therapeutic. And like the music in it's really beautiful, and the set designs of the places is really nice. Like, it has like certain set, like, it's not like every time you play it there's going to be like wide creative new areas. Like, there's like specific maps.
Yeah.
The maps are really pretty, and they're really like well laid out. And I don't know, just everything about that game, just like, it makes me feel good, and I enjoy playing it. So yeah.
Killing makes me feel good.
Yes.
Yes. All the killing.
Suck up all the XP, become powerful. But yeah, so it was a bit of a surprise to myself that I actually enjoyed that game. But hey, some days that's That's not a bad thing. And given how this year's been, it's been a lovely interlude upon the daily fucking grind of this year.
Right? I find it hilarious that, like, last year when we did this podcast, all of us were like, I don't know, we didn't really play anything. And then this year, we have literally no excuse not to play games because it's like, we're all in fucking quarantine. Like, even if you do still work, like, you can't go anywhere in your free time, so if you game away. I just find it funny, the contrast, because, like, last year we were like, I don't know, I don't even remember what I played. Because we're just so fucking busy.
Yeah. If there's one thing that she's pretty nice about is that I think it's reinvigorated my love of gaming, if anything.
Yeah.
Because for a while, I was starting to get bored of a lot of stuff I had. Like, I'd pick up a game, I'd play it for like 2 hours, and I'd just fuck off.
Yeah,
and watch
you know what? I
YouTube
can
or just
sympathize
dick
with
around or
that.
do something else.
Because, like, yeah, when you're working, like, your free time is limited. So you obviously want to use that time to do something that you really want to do, right? So, and then sometimes you're just like, I'm just not feeling it to play games or whatever. But because now, like, you have so much free time, it's like you can do all the things that you want to do, whether it's gaming or other things.
Yeah. And then I think it's also that companies really stepped up this year, too, because there's been a lot of good games.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that, too. There's a lot more stuff that I'm, like, interested in.
Yeah. And even next year, there's still a lot of stuff that I'm interested in.
I'm excited for, like, beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
My big thing, I think, was because I was searching for a job and I wanted to be working all of, like, 2019. And the fact that I only could stay home and, like, fucking play games.
Well,
hey, and, like, everybody was busy. And
I just got laid off. So
yeah.
I worked all the rest of the year, but now I'm laid off.
You're going to be feeling my pain in a bit.
Right?
So I was going insane from it. Everybody else is busy. I'm like, there's no way to add.
I'll be fine. So. I have so many hobbies.
True.
I have ways to keep myself busy.
But even I had hobbies and I got bored.
Yeah.
Right, so which one is your actual game of the year, Nate?
It's Risk of Rain. It beats out Baldur's Gate. I guess I didn't talk at all about Baldur's Gate, did I? So Baldur's Gate 3 is by Lauren Studios, which made Divinity Original Sin and 2 and basically the Divinity series.
Mm-hmm.
They're a really good and really fun developer, and they can really pull the switch on, like, they'll do like super happy goofy like random shit, and they can turn like on a dime and do something super dark in the same game, like even in like side to side scenes, and it just works really well. It's very sporadic and I love it. So they got the license to work on Baldur's Gate 3, and already they released their beta, and it's just of like the first act, and I gotta say, I really like it, and it's even invigorated my desire to play D&D 5e 5th edition, which before I could not give a rat's ass about 5th edition, because I'd look at it and I go, all right, well, here's 5th edition, where everything's super samey from my perspective, or I could play Pathfinder, where, sure, it's a lot more complex and there's a lot more math and you can abuse it a lot easier, but there's so much you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I'm going through, I'm just like, I can add, like, some of these systems I'm actually enjoying, and so I'm going into like 5e going, maybe I could fuck with this. Maybe this could be fun. So yeah, it's oddly reinvigorated my desire to play not computer games, but also play computer games. So yeah, if you guys ever want to do a 5e campaign, I could whip something up. It's a much
reinvigorated my interest in not playing it,
but at the same time playing it.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's mine.
Sweet.
All right, so I guess that means next up is Tom. We'll get you to talk about your games of the year.
So I played. I'll start with Animal Crossing. I played New Leaf back on the 3DS, and I think I've mentioned this on a podcast before, but very briefly, I didn't play it the way you're supposed to play Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah.
I deliberately tried to just make my town go bankrupt to make everybody hate me because I was the mayor. I succeeded in that task. And then I never went back to the game because I felt like, well, I've had my fun with doing that, and Animal Crossing isn't normally my kind of thing. When New Horizons came out, I don't know what it was. There was something charming about its trailers, maybe, or something. I have no idea. And I decided to give it a shot, and I had so much fun just playing through the game normally and not trying to screw everything up, just collecting villagers that I thought were cool and building up my town, my island into a town rather, and expanding my house and getting cool items and building up the museum and finding dinosaur fossils and fishing for rare fish. I had way more fun with it than I ever thought I could with Animal Crossing. And I think it came out at the right time for this kind of game in this year. And what surprised me was how much it took over in a community aspect. For like pretty much all of the big YouTuber Let's Players were all playing Animal Crossing, and sharing their islands with their fans, which created a unique community. I think there was a YouTube channel that started up that was like a talk show where they obviously recorded audio through, I don't know, Discord or Skype or whatever their platform of choice was, but they used Animal Crossing, recorded footage from Animal Crossing to build a set where they could simulate the show host behind the desk and calling out guests, and guests would come out, and it would be YouTubers and celebrities that were all playing the game, and it would be their actual characters from their files that would come in and sit on the chair, and they would have like a podcast type discussion. And I think it was just a fun experience that, well, I just had fun experiencing. And I never thought I'd get into Animal Crossing, but I got into New Horizons for the first, maybe it was about 2 months when it came out. And it surprised me how much I enjoyed that game. My other nomination was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it has its issues. It has some glitches, but they're not really. I don't take a personal issue with them. It's things that you'd expect, I guess you could say, a Ubisoft game to have problems with like character models auto-pathing being a little bit buggy, where there was one incident where I raided a village and I was looting a chest that I found in the village, but in order to open it, you needed 2 people. So when you try to open it, the main character's name is Ivor, whether you pick male or female, the main character sort of goes, "Hey, come on, I need a hand with this." But nobody would come. And this was the first time nobody showed up. And eventually I figured out that the NPC that's stuck on the wall is the one that the game's trying to get to come help me. So I kept hitting them with my hammer to knock them away from the wall to get them into a position where when I went to the chest and tried to open it, they could actually get to me. And there's glitches like that are inconvenient, but to me they don't ruin the experience of. I can look past the dirt and see the rug underneath, if that makes any sense. I can see what it's trying to do and what it will do. And I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I like that Ubisoft has decided to abandon their attempts at being nearly one-to-one historically accurate. That was a big thing back in, I think it was Assassin's Creed 2, where your target was, I think it was the Pope. I can't remember. The ultimate villain was the Pope. But every single
historically accurate.
every single assassination target that you had throughout the game was a real name, not necessarily based on the real person, because how can you know, but was a real name that had a real date of death and a real date of death associated with the location that you killed them in the game, to try to make it feel as if someone went on Google, looked up this name, died in, I don't remember what year it was in the game, like 1604 or something like that. You could find a picture of a tombstone that was that real name, died that year, so on and so forth, to try to make it feel as authentic to reality as possible. But Ubisoft has abandoned doing that in favor of just making a fun open world action RPG, essentially, sharing the Assassin's Creed universe. And the fan base is very much split on whether or not they like the new direction Assassin's Creed has taken. I personally like it. And so I judge it as a third-person action RPG where you're a Viking. I don't necessarily judge it as a follow-up to Assassin's Creed 2 kind of thing.
Right.
And as a Viking simulator, as it were, I think that it's very well designed, and I think it's really fun. I really didn't expect it. At points in the game, you go to Asgard and Jotunheim, and you even go to North America, which the game refers to as Vinland, which I Googled and is actually the name the Vikings that discovered North America actually gave the land.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until playing the game. But you go to Norway and you go all over Europe, and it's really fun. I didn't expect to have an entire story arc where I'm in Valhalla and I have to fight Fenrir and Loki and or where I'm in Asgard is what I meant to say, and Jotunheim. I really didn't expect that, and it was a lot of fun. Which one is my game of the year? I am actually still struggling with deciding because I think for pure raw fun factor and sitting down for 20 minutes and having just a grand old time, I guess, I want to give it to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But I think Animal Crossing deserves it more for being the game that I didn't expect to like. You know what? For that reason, I'm going to give Animal Crossing New Horizons my game of the year for 2020.
Right.
What a surprise.
Okay, all right, so that means next up is Holly.
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, I quit.
See you nerds later.
Yeah, later, nerds. Well, I guess what I'm gonna say is not gonna be like super interesting, I suppose. But I too had Animal Crossing New Horizons as my game of the year, and then also Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So Tom already touched on it a bit about Animal Crossing. Is that it wasn't a game that I was like super into. Honestly, I kind of picked it up out of peer pressure because everyone was playing it, but it looked so fun. Like everyone looked like they were really enjoying it and having fun. And like, yeah, it's a cute little life simulator. And I think I've only ever played one Animal Crossing game beforehand, but I couldn't even tell you which one it was or for how long. But yeah, I enjoyed New Horizons. After I got to a certain point, it kind of got old. Because like I had maxed out how many villagers I could have. Like I built up my house to a point where I was perfectly happy with it, and I didn't want to pay Tom Nook more money. And then so I got to the point where I was literally only logging on just to catch like new bugs and fish and stuff every time a new season happened. And then so I was kind of like, I kind of petered out and I hadn't played it in a couple months since then. But yeah, like Tom mentioned before, is that it got my nomination because of the impact it had on the community. I said this a little while ago, is that it was the game that came out when everybody needed it. It was such a community support. It had a lot of emotional impact on people, whether it was good and bad. I heard some weird stuff around the time, but I remember hearing so many people were getting upset because you could visit each other's islands and stuff like that, but some people were visibly getting upset because they're like, my island isn't as good, and they were legit stressing out over that stuff. And it's dudes, it's a game. No one fucking cares. Yeah. But
you've got enough to worry about, right?
Yeah, no shit. But I mean, I guess it's kind of cute, even when a pandemic's going on, the one thing that's causing you stress is that your island isn't as pretty as your neighbors. It's kind of hilarious. But it's I got island envy every now and again, but it's whatever. It's just a game. And but yeah, no, because it came out at the height of our first lockdown, especially at least in North America. And everyone's struggling with mental health now a lot, especially with COVID, because we can't see our families. And especially, in this month, Christmas is coming and, we may or may not be able to spend it with our loved ones. Right. So, but when the lockdown first hit, everyone took it pretty seriously. So everyone was if they didn't have to leave the house to go to work, they didn't. If they didn't have to go to school, they weren't going to school. If they didn't have to go to the grocery store, they didn't go to the grocery store. You know what I mean? And so a lot of us don't some of us don't live with loved ones and stuff. So the only way we were able to connect is through online ways. And to be able to do that through a cute, charming game where your neighbors are animals is a really good way to settle your soul and settle your anxieties and your worries for a few hours. You know what I mean? Right? That's the beauty of video games sometimes, it can take us out of our own realities, and make us realize that make you forget about the stuff that may be causing you stress in your own personal life. Right. It's a good escape. And, and yeah, I think Animal Crossing was at the helm of that. And so yeah, it definitely deserves its nomination. And I honestly think it deserved its game of the year just on that alone, right? The game itself is nah, we've seen this stuff before. It's Animal Crossing. It's nothing super new. Obviously, they introduce new things, new mechanics, new things that you could do and stuff like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's nothing groundbreaking or new, but because of the time it came out, it was groundbreaking, and it meant it played an important role in a lot of people's lives at the time. So I think that's why it stood out. And then my next nomination was Hyrule Warriors, of course, the Zelda game. Has to be a nomination for me. But I'm sorry, I had to think for a second. Yeah, I chose this as a nomination, not because I think the game is wow, it was amazing. I already touched on it earlier, is that I wasn't a huge fan of the game as a game, if you know what I mean. Because after a while things got repetitive. I felt sometimes when I was doing stuff, it felt more like a chore. Just because I felt my completionist senses were tingling, I suppose you could say. But I felt like I needed to be a completionist about the game because I didn't want to experience the story too fast. Because I felt I gotta savor this, right? This is an experience that I didn't know I was gonna get. And that's another thing I want to touch on, is that this game was announced, I think, a month and a half before it actually was released. Nobody knew this was a thing. Nobody knew that they were working on, I use air quotes, a prequel, because it kind of is and kind of isn't. I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, nobody asked for this. Nobody knew it was coming. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's this trailer and we're like gobsmacked with like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden, Breath of the Wild has become a trilogy. And it's like what happened? And, but yeah, it's just amazing that, like they just kept it so under the table. Like they said nothing. Like nobody was under the suspicion that like they were making a Hyrule Warriors game about Breath of the Wild, because of course we all know that they released the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer at E3 in, I think it was 2019. Am I remember that correctly? 2019 E3? I think that's what it was. And then so everyone's been thinking about that. So everyone's got that in their brains. So it was almost like a distraction. It's almost like it's like the sleight of hand magic tricks, you know, they redirect your attention when the real trick is happening somewhere else, right? Which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, the game in its whole isn't fantastic. It's all right for what it is, and it was a nice little distraction, to keep my me chomping at the bit for Breath of the Wild 2. So because like it's kind of a prequel and kind of not a prequel. I would say I mean, spoiler alert, I suppose it has a lot to do with time travel, which is something we've seen in the Zelda series before, but I just didn't think they were going to go that route. And so I was so every step of the way through the story, I was just confused. And then all of a sudden, like I was just getting sucker punched left, right, and center. And you're like, what? No, what? Because like I know a lot about Breath of the Wild's lore, about its past, about its history. I know way more than I should. But I'm well versed in the lore of this Hyrule. So when things started to change, I noticed them right away, and then I was like, but that didn't happen this way, and blah blah blah. But then like it's the whole butterfly effect, right? As soon as you change one small element, it can change everything. And as soon as this game starts, it already introduces the whole time travel thing, and then so already things are changing. And so it was interesting. I don't know if I'm pro or con on the story. Like I don't know if I liked it. I don't know because in my opinion, I wouldn't have done it this way, because the way they marketed it it seemed like, it was a direct prequel, so that you would see what happened the 100 years before during the calamity, right? And using Hyrule Warriors was a great way to do this, because obviously it was a battle. So Hyrule Warriors fashion, it actually worked really well, which was very clever to do it that way. But I wish they would have stuck to the original history of the 100-year ago calamity, and then experience the events, how they actually happened leading up to Breath of the Wild. Because right as it feels right now, Age of Calamity feels totally separate from Breath of the Wild, because in reality it is. We're in a different parallel to the Breath of the Wild that we know, right? Because Age of the Calamity totally rewrote the story about how that happened, right? So in that story of Age of Calamity, Breath of the Wild never took place. So it just makes things all messy. And but going over like my two nominees, and why I said that what I'm about to say is not very interesting is because my Game of the Year pick is also Animal Crossing New Horizons. So
tried very hard to not have Animal Crossing because I knew Holly was going to have it, but the only other game I could think of that really captured my attention this year is Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. And I felt like that one was almost cheating. Why? Because it's 51 games that aren't video games.
So
and they are now.
They are now, I knew I actually didn't think your game of the year would be Animal Crossing, but I knew
You think Hyrule Warriors was my choice?
You really did.
I really liked it. I liked the story, but I told you I was like very like, oh, the gameplay's kind of boring. Because like I feel like your game of the year should be a game that like, yeah, it could have great story, but at the end of the day, it's a game. So if the game part of it ain't so great, is it really the game of the year? You know, like, so that's why, because otherwise I would have been like, oh yeah, I'm a Zelda fan, Zelda all the way. Like, who cares if it's Hyrule Warriors? But because I wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay and I thought the gameplay wasn't anything special, that's why. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I guess we'll finish off with my nominees. So the first one was In Other Waters, which like I just loved how unique that game was. So the way it works is you play as the AI inside of this like futuristic diving suit that a marine biologist is using on an alien planet, and you know the whole game, all you're looking at is just the UI of the suit, and through that you're controlling where the main character goes, but also like how much oxygen they're using, how much energy they're using. And I've just never seen a game work that way before, which I thought was really cool. And then, like, throughout this whole game, you know, you're going through this story of, you know, looking for this character's lost mentor. But also there's a lot of exploration to it, like documenting the life that you find on this planet. And it actually wasn't until the story finished and the game just, you know, says, all right, now it's time to, you know, you just have the freedom to go explore, that it really sort of solidified its place here. Because, I mean, it's such a thrill going to, like, all these different places and seeing, you know, just seeing what you can find and learning about all these, like, really well thought out alien creatures in the game. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool. And then,
cool.
but yeah, and then Hades. I mean, obviously, everyone's heard a lot about Hades. They kind of know what the deal is with
just
it.
a little.
But that one, like, I mean, the gameplay feels great. Like, it's just so fast and smooth. Yeah, you've got a bunch of different weapons that all feel different and mostly fun to use. I'm not super into the gun, but I mean, you know, they've all got their points. And then, like, on top of that, it's just presented so well. I mean, the music's great, the writing's great, the voice acting's great. All the art is really nice.
Yeah, I really like the style.
Yeah,
it's kind of like anime meets like cartoon a little bit, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. And yeah, like, it's just got all these little nods to Greek mythology that I really appreciated. You know, like, if you talk to Zeus and Poseidon, they'll occasionally make like little verbal jabs at each other, because in the original Greek myths, like, they are sort of rivals for, I guess, the throne on Mount Olympus, like, as head god.
Mm.
And then
it's great again.
So yeah, it took me a little while to decide which was my game of the year. Eventually, I had to give it to Hades. So, I mean, like, I wanted to give it to In Other Waters just because, like, it is so different and creative, and I do really appreciate that. But I mean, Hades just does everything so well.
Yeah.
And, like, even, like, you know, even just sort of playing them in preparation and, like, thinking of points, like, I just kept wanting to do one more run and one more run. So, yeah, Hades is my game of the year.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Hades.
Oh, do we close this thing out with what we're looking forward to hearing more about or seeing next year?
Yeah.
So what are the games that everyone's looking forward to that are at least supposed to be coming in 2021?
I promise I won't go on a rant this year.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Breath of the Wild 2
I will
and
be
Okami
composed. I am ready. I'll be composed. Someone else can go first.
In preparation for recording this, I rewatched our podcast from last.
Oh, it's
and I noticed in the end, I said, I got good feelings about 2020. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, shit.
So, I'm sorry I jinxed it, everyone.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Nobody say anything about 2021.
So I'm just going to say, I think 2021 is going to suck.
Now you've double bluffed the universe.
Yeah. Welcome to the apocalypse 2021.
So for a game, we've talked about it so much on numerous podcasts and on the channel, so I'm not going to go on a rant about it. I'm just going to say I am looking forward to seeing what does end up happening with Halo Infinite.
Oof.
Oof. Other than that, I would say I'm very curious about Final Fantasy 16.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's coming out next year, but it was revealed at Sony's PS5 event. And it looked tonally very different. It looked a lot more it looked a lot more like they were going for an M rating rather than a teen rating, which that's such a small thing, but that can change how a narrative is delivered quite a bit. So it's that might not even be the case, but that was just it seemed a lot darker and more violent than Final Fantasy normal, which just makes me curious about it. I guess I'm curious to see what happens with Arc 2.
Yeah,
that comes
I'm
out next.
So curious about that. Because I talked to my sister about it because she's huge on playing Arc. She actually screenshotted it for me, but she showed me how many hours she had clocked in playing, which was over 800. I think it was close to 900 hours in playing Arc. And she says, I've loved it so much. And I love playing it. And she's just like, but there's so many things that could be better that just helps the game run better or move better or things like that. And then when I told her, because as we were watching the Game Awards, I texted it to her as soon as I saw the trailer, and I said, "Hey, they're making an Arc 2," and she's like, "Don't tell me that." And I was like, "Why? Do you not want another Arc?" Because I was like, "What's going on?" And she's just like, "I want it. Another one's so bad. So don't give me hope." And I was like, "Dude, I legit just watched a fucking trailer for it." And then my other sister, because we have a group chat together, and she told me she's just like, because I think she looked it up, and what she ended up seeing was, I think, one of the old expansions or whatever. And she's just like, "Oh no, it's just an addition to said expansion, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, dude, no, this is not what I'm talking about. And I managed to find a link to the trailer and show it to them and whatnot. But she's very skeptical on because the way the trailer shows.
How can she be skeptical? It has Vin
Diesel in it. I know.
And he's got a family.
Yeah, family. Fish for family. Turns out that's the Fast and the Furious sequel or the prequel. Anyway.
Oh god, if they add cars into Arc just so that Vin Diesel has a 69 Camaro.
Oh my god.
I mean, technically it's super future.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of the question. But anyway, what I was getting at was because the way they showed off the trailer, obviously it was very cinematic and it looked like it was going to have maybe a very heavy story in it instead of how I'm used to Arc is that it has an underlining story, but basically the gameplay is very sandbox. Is that you kind of have freedom just to advance in the world however you see fit. And so her apprehension was is it going to be like, are they going to change it? Is it going to be more of a story driven kind of game? Or is it just going to be still kind of the sandbox arc that we know, but then there is a story mode that you can participate in, which I would totally be okay with, because sometimes story mode can give you like initiative to do other things that you wouldn't do before. Because I know in games like Ark, sometimes I can get kind of bored after a little while because I don't have any like motivation to do other things, especially if I've like met my like underlining goals, I suppose. And then you're like, okay, I'm done, I guess. But then like if you have a story, then you have an excuse to kind of progress. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. Yeah.
I'm also interested in being like,
yeah, that looks kind of cool. Unnecessary, but cool. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, all right. Weird. But I'd probably watch it. Oh.
Watch it.
Nathan has spoken.
Watch it. Watch the damn show.
Watch it. Yeah, they're actually making a show of it too. Is that series coming up? The funny thing about Ark is I've actually been having it running currently.
Oh.
I've just god moded, floated up above an island. I'm just watching dinosaurs just kind of do their own thing. It's rather relaxing.
Just watching dinosaurs be dinosaurs.
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They haven't decided to eat me yet, so at the current moment, it is relaxing. But until they get aggressive,
I didn't expect it to be just just chill as it is. Just watching these stupid little AI wander around in circles and sometimes murder each other. But they're dinosaurs, so what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I guess because I spoke, I might as well go next. I'm looking forward to Ark 2 as well. I like the first one. I started playing it again. I'm pretty sure I mentioned because my computer can actually run it now.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it, and I plan on figuring out what the hell is happening everywhere.
I just like writing
I'm excited.
dinos.
Yeah. I am also excited that there's going to be more of a story mode. I love sandbox games. I love fucking around, but there's also like the underlying story, which is nice to just keep you invested in things.
Mm-hmm.
So just be like, well, I built my palace, so I fucking will go play something else now.
Yeah, because there's only so much you can do, and then you're just like, okay, what's next?
Yep.
And I think that's the only reason why sometimes I like come back to it and then like quit it and then come back to it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. And then after this, I totally plan on hopping out of my floaty self and punching some dinosaurs in the face. And then proceed by dying horribly.
So what I was surprised about at the Game Awards, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, and maybe I like get hopes up and stuff like that, and then I like get disappointed and shit. But I noticed that at the Game Awards, because I always kind of perceive it as like it's a mini E3, like there's always like cool shit to see about other games and stuff, because that's what they do. But I noticed that it was mostly new premieres and not information about other games that may be coming out next year. And that's kind of what I was missing. That's what I was kind of looking for, because I'll only say it once. I was surprised not to hear anything about Breath of the Wild 2. Just surprised, just because I usually keep up with the Zelda theory community and whatever, and they were kind of talking about, oh, maybe they might say something this year. But again, it was absent. I was also expecting to hear more on the PlayStation 5 side, but I was surprised not to see some more information about the other PlayStation 5 releases that don't yet have release dates. Most notably, the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel and the new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Those games got announced and shown off at the PlayStation 5 event, but they both don't have release dates. So I was surprised that they weren't going to give us, maybe more trailers or gameplay teasers, and then boom, a release date. I was very surprised not to see some of that because that's what I was kind of like looking for. So I was a bit disappointed because I was like, I want to know when I can have that Ratchet game back. And then I'm very excited for Dragon Age 4. Very, very, very excited. So I was happy to see like even just a teaser trailer because when did we last hear a teaser thing about Dragon Age 4? I think it was not last year's E3, but the year before that. I feel like. Or was it last year's? I don't remember.
There was I think it was in Microsoft's Series X event. No, it was at E3 this year during EA. They had a little digital event that was supposed to be like their E3, and there was a shot for like 2 seconds that showed like Red Lyrium. But it was during like a montage of projects that they're working on, but they didn't say any.
No, I'm talking about a different one because there was one. It was like only a few seconds long. Like I would say it was like 12 seconds where it like showed, I think it was like a mural or something like that. And it was like a Dragon Age 4 teaser, but I feel like that was 2018. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. I feel it's either 2018 or 2019, but that was the last time I heard anything about like Dragon Age 4. And so it was nice to see that we had a trailer with the Dreadwolf, and I'm pretty sure it was narrated by Varric, which I got all smiley. I was like, yay, it's Varric. And but what I saw so far about like, because they kind of showed like some world building and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, this looks like great. Like this looks awesome. So I'm really excited to see what direction they take with like even just how they built the world, like how it evolves from how it was in Inquisition. So yeah, no, I have my hopes up for it. So hopefully BioWare doesn't let me down. And what else? What else am I excited for next year?
I'm looking forward to the Medium too.
The Medium?
Oh yeah.
It's a cool concept. I think it's very cool, but I don't know if it's my thing.
You don't like horror?
Yeah. Hit the nail on the head on that one. Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
Rob died.
Maybe he did die.
Oh, I heard.
I'm back.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Rob.
We went a good while without Discord fucking up, so it had to do it again.
Yeah, it was like, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, let's talk about some of the big ones. Actually, a lot of them were stuff that was supposed to come out this year and just got delayed because that's fair. So yeah, Windjammers 2, just the same day as the Game Awards, which I was very relieved to see, got delayed until 2021.
Aww.
I love the first one. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've seen gameplay footage of Windjammers 2. It looks good. The other one that was supposed to come out this year is Mondo Museum, which for a long time I thought, maybe I should play Animal Crossing, and I realized mostly I just wanted like the museum part of it.
Yeah.
And then around that time I saw the trailer for Mondo Museum, which is all museum simulator, and it gets super in depth, like to the point where artifact repatriation is apparently part of the gameplay. So that's one I'm really looking forward to. And then the last one, we've all got sort of like our pet causes that we're always saying, I want to do one of these, whether it's, whether we're talking about Metroid Prime 4 or, possibly new Okami.
Yeah.
One of mine actually has, or seems to be making some kind of progress. One of the lead developers for the team that made Floor Kids has said that there's going to be big news coming out soon.
Ooh.
Yeah. And in addition, Kid Koala has tweeted that just the other day, he tweeted that he's working on music for a new game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited to see, whether that is Floor Kids 2 or something else.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see what comes of that.
Wall grown-ups.
Go to work with a funky soundtrack by Kid Koala. But yeah, those are the big ones I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, just thinking of it now, next year is also well, I should say this year was Mario's 35th anniversary, and Miyamoto did confirm that Nintendo had big plans for Mario's entire year that got completely derailed because of COVID.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But next year is Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Zelda.
I'm wondering, what do you guys think they're going to do? I'm actually curious if next year is going to be full of like we had the Mario 3D collection, Mario All-Stars 2. I'm curious, do you guys think that we'll see like the 3DS Zeldas get ported to the Switch, and like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on Wii U getting ported to Switch, and all kinds of things like that sprinkled throughout the year, perhaps culminating in a November Breath of the Wild 2 release?
Not to be too much of a downer, but probably not.
I know that I think there was rumors about a Skyward Sword port for the Nintendo Switch. There was rumors about that, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But
if you're gonna celebrate its 35th, you better put out its most hated game.
Well, I mean, it was its 25th release game, so
Zelda CDI All-Stars.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, that game's like Skyward Sword's only problem was because of the platform it was on, because it used the assets of the Wii for its motion controls, and I think that's where most of the problems come from. It is that a lot of people just didn't like how the game played because you had to use the motion controls for combat and all that kind of stuff. And so porting it to the Switch, I don't know if they would still implement the motion controls and just make it better. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
I feel like they'd at least make the motion controls optional.
Yeah.
There isn't much on the Switch that requires you to use motion controls.
Yeah. I think they should go in the direction of just taking out the motion controls, because I think that that's the only really big issue with
the problem is the entire game's design.
I know, and that's why I'm thinking, would they? Or like, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe they could implement a way
flicking your right joystick makes Link swing his sword that direction, so they don't have to redesign some of the enemy encounters.
It's possible. Yeah, it's hard
to say. Then they'd be Metal the Zelda universe.
Yeah. But yeah, all like porting the 3DS ones to the Switch, I don't know if that's something that we would see.
Yeah, the reason I don't see them, doing much, if anything, is like Zelda's never been really the flagship series for Nintendo in the way that Mario has been.
Yeah. So for them to go like balls to the walls with Mario makes sense.
Yeah. And also like people are getting very excited about the possibility of Nintendo doing a big thing for Zelda's 35th anniversary. And if there's one thing that Nintendo's very bad at doing, it's what people want them to do.
Yep. Yep. They do technically the opposite sometimes. They're such a strange company. They just catch me off guard every time. But yes, it's not completely unthought about to maybe have the Breath of the Wild sequel come out next year in November. That's kind of my prediction, but I'm not holding out hope because we haven't heard anything. But I mean, Nintendo in Nintendo fashion, they'll probably tell us a week before it comes out. Or a month or two, like they did with the Hyrule Warriors. So that's, yeah. But if they did do like my wish, if they did do a bunch of like Zelda remasters or Zelda ports for the 35th, I wish that they would do remaster Oracle of Ages and Seasons, but that's a high hope.
I could see them doing that, though. Link's Awakening sold really well.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying that, like, it's possible, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
And I was joking when I said it, but I would actually buy the CDI games on the Switch.
I wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't know if I just play them just for the campiness, but if
I'm
they
not
do,
saying I'd
Rob,
pay, like,
you and I will play them on the
$80
channel.
Can you imagine if they ported the CDI games and they charged full MSRP for each individual one?
It's exactly the same game, but with like HD graphics, but still all the like fucked up
Oh my gosh.
character movement and camera work, just random zooms at all times.
Everyone wanted these on Switch for some stupid reason.
So here you go, you stupid Americans.
So if you made us recreate them, you can pay for it, damn it!
Do you know how hard it is to do motion capture for the animation choices they made in those scenes?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a grown man try to do Link's like weird arm unrolling morning stretch?
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, those are kind of a really weird treasure, but
No, they're not a
yeah.
treasure.
I don't know. Well, some people
Yes.
find them hilariously like they're one of the things
I
that they're
find
so
them
bad they're good that you still
If-
want to play it because of just the campy stupidness.
If there were no Zelda CDI games, there would be no Boo Loves Chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Boo loves chocolate.
We were talking about it the other day. That's our... How old were we when that was making its round? We would have been in like junior high.
Yeah, it would have been like late junior high, maybe early high school. So, yeah, like 14, 15, somewhere in there.
I think it was called YouTube poop at the time, wasn't
YouTube
it? That,
poop?
like
Yeah.
subgenre of making videos. But someone took the audio from the SpongeBob episode where the guy freaks out about chocolate,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
That was a big meme.
they used it to edit like the lip flaps and everything from Dragon Ball Z, where it's Majin Buu running around going,
See, when you said that, I thought about like the Mario boos. I was like, so I was a little confused at first. I was like, what?
No, it was a late 2000s YouTube poop, so it also included Shoop da Whoop
Yep.
and clips from the Zelda CDI games.
Oh gosh.
Good old shoot the whoop.
Oh.
About it,
Well,
everyone.
I think we've pretty much
Yeah.
covered everything.
Can't think of anything else.
I
Right.
guess if I timed it right, it's about to be midnight. So Happy New Year. Maybe
Maybe?
this was about 3 hours. So if I
Question
upload it
mark?
at 9,
Jeez,
Let's,
3 hours on this one.
let's hope that 2021's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Here's
at least-
hoping.
At least some
Yes, I
people
will.
will be vaccinated.
Right?
yeah. Oh, that's what I get because I'm frontline worker in a long-term care center. Guess who's getting vaccinated? Probably on the first fucking go.
I think we only have like
So,
a few
you know,
thousand.
I'll tell you if it
Available.
kills me or not.
We're all gonna show up at Nathan's house with masks, scraping our arms like drug addicts. Come on, man, just give us a needle.
Give me another hit. Give me
some.
another hit.
We know you got mad contacts, bro.
Like at work, I don't have any. Oh my god!
Let me drink your blood. That's how it works, right?
Kill him! Drink his blood!
Drink his blood. Jesus Christ. Don't cry. Don't cry. It's not worth it.
What if the existence of the vaccine is what destroys humanity?
Yeah, everyone's fighting over the vaccine. Oh no, I wouldn't put it past people.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I just painted myself a target so I don't get to take it home. Doesn't get shot up at work.
Time to open the bunker.
Yeah, no kidding.
Imagine like old people like dude, kill him, drink his blood. And a bunch of like 80 and 90-year-old people with wheelchairs and walk coming down the hallway at you.
Funny part is they couldn't even do that.
It's like a Mad Max kind of thing. They've all modified their wheelchairs. Like nitrous.
Get
him! No.
Hook him up to the rack.
Drain him.